private access road twisting up the mountain was so narrow, Ethan kept both hands locked on the wheel. Like if he relaxed for a second, the old pickup would slide off the frozen shoulder. Below him, the city had shrunk to a smeared ribbon of yellow light, slowly swallowed by the Colorado night like water draining from a sink. He'd flown over dry mountain ranges in the Middle East, listened to anti-aircraft fire claw at the belly of a chopper. And somehow the silence on this road still made him more uneasy than gunfire ever had. When the metal sign finally slid into his headlights, Everdream Therapeutics research campus, Ethan felt like he'd driven straight into an advertisement for luxury sleep medication. The tall steel gates, topped with razor wire and lined with cold white floodlights, didn't look like any hospital or sleep clinic he'd ever seen. More like a prison designed by a tech company. He stopped the truck in front of the gate and heard the faint whir of a camera turret rotating overhead, like the mountain itself had just opened an eye to look at him. "Please state your name and purpose," a neutral female voice said over the intercom, with none of the warmth or exhaustion of a real person stuck on night shift. "Ethan Ward, night shift security," he answered, leaning toward the button and hearing his own voice come out rough and unfamiliar in the cold. There was a brief pause, just the engine and the wind threading through the razor wire, and then the heavy electric lock clunked. The steel gates slid apart, revealing another inclined road burrowing into the mountain. And Ethan had just enough time to think, last job. This one's going to be quiet. The building appeared after the last bend, a block of dark glass and concrete set into the rock. The Everdream logo glowing softly on the facade like an artificial moon. The parking lot was almost empty, just a few high-end sedans dusted with snow, making his beat-up truck look like it had taken a wrong turn into someone else's tax bracket. Ethan killed the engine and sat for a few extra seconds in the dark, watching his own faint reflection in the windshield.
Hãy hoàn tất
Shadowed
biểu mẫu này
eyes,
để đảm
a
bảo
tight
rằng
jaw,
bạn đã hiểu rõ quy
posture
trình.
still carrying a trace of the straight-backed soldier he wasn't anymore. Not a war zone, just cameras and doors, he told himself. Then opened the door and climbed out, his breath blooming white in the knife-cold air. The glass doors slid open ahead of him, breathing out a wash of warm air and faint disinfectant, white light almost blinding after the long stretch of darkness. The lobby was wide,
Cảnh báo.
the floor polished enough to hold a warped version of his reflection, ceiling lined with recessed lights and cameras in every corner like silent black eyes. The reception desk was empty, just a glossy black badge reader on the counter and a standby monitor looping the Everdream logo in slow rotation. "Mr. Ward," the voice behind him made him twitch, and when he turned, he saw a woman in her 50s, silver in her hair, a white lab coat over a dark dress. Her face didn't bother with a smile, but her eyes took him in with such precise attention he felt like he was already taking a test no one had handed him. "I'm Dr. Miriam Caldwell," she said, "project lead. You'll report directly to me during your
Xin
probationary
giới thiệu
period."
Daniel.
She led him to the desk, pulled a thick folder from a drawer and flipped it open to a page packed with tiny print. The heading reading, Non-Disclosure and Behavioral Compliance Agreement. These are standard confidentiality terms with a few additions appropriate to the nature of our work, Caldwell said, voice
Cầm
level.
miệng.
If you plan on telling anyone what you see here, I suggest you pay special attention to the consequences section. Ethan skimmed the first few lines, his brain catching only phrases like civil liability, criminal charges, and post-contract psychological monitoring, before deciding not to read any further. He signed Ethan Ward on the last page, feeling like he'd just signed away whatever was left that still belonged to him. Caldwell tucked the folder away and handed him a white ID badge with a silver border. His name printed neatly under the Everdream logo. "From this moment
We have to be very careful with this
you're
one.
part of this system," she said. "And this system
Is
does
this all
not
part of
lack
the plan?
surprises." She gestured for him to follow, leading him through a security door into a long, white corridor. Neon lights burning steady, no artwork or plants, just floor numbers stenciled on the walls. The elevator waited for them, its polished steel doors reflecting their shapes in a distorted blur as they stepped inside. Inside, Caldwell tapped her badge and selected a floor that didn't appear on the button panel at all. Just a quiet A13 lighting up on a small display. The elevator doors slid shut, and as the car began to descend, Ethan had the brief, irrational feeling he was being swallowed by the mountain
technology,
and by something much deeper
not just about
than
what
rock.
it can do, but what it means
The
for
elevator
us.
kept sliding
The
down
very
just
fabric of
long enough
reality.
for Ethan to start counting in his head. He hit 12 before a dry little ding sounded. The doors opened onto another corridor, lower ceiling, dimmer,
What is this
with
feeling?
pale green fluorescent
What is this
lights that
place?
made human skin look vaguely ill. An Asian guy in a tech jacket was waiting
go.
just outside, flipping his ID badge between his fingers like a nervous habit. "This is Daniel Park, systems engineer," Caldwell said. "He's going to give you the tour and hand off the security control room." Daniel gave a quick, lopsided smile, the kind from someone too tired to be polite but still trintin'. "Welcome to Level A," Daniel said, "where we pretend to fix people while secretly scaring them to death." "Kidding." Caldwell just cut him a glance, enough to smother the joke. "I need to go back up. You go with Daniel. Tonight you'll observe only. Tomorrow you take the full shift." As Caldwell stepped back into the elevator, Ethan had the brief sense he was being dropped off and left here like a misdelivered package in a basement. "Come on, Ward," Daniel said, turning down the hall. "Let me show you where we get paid to watch other people sleep." They passed their first glass window. Inside, a white-blue lab with hospital beds, machines, and a few lab coats bent over monitors. One patient lay motionless on a bed, head fitted with an electrode cap, cables running to a device that looked like a cross between an MRI and a designer recliner. "Clinical B," Daniel said. "That's where they do the therapy stuff. The interesting part's further in." Ethan noticed each doorway had its own
Well, what else
code.
did you expect?
B2, B5, C1, like bins in some giant warehouse. "Level A only has a few sectors," Daniel went on,
You need to remember this.
voice dropping a little like the cameras had ears. "Control, storage, and the core."
The data
"The
confirms your
core?"
analysis.
Ethan asked. Daniel shrugged. "The place you're not allowed into unless Caldwell decides to let you. And trust me, if that day comes, it won't be for something fun." They turned into a wide room lined with wall-mounted monitors, each split into
The
grids
phase array
of
is
camera
destabilizing
feeds
rapidly.
covering
We're
every
losing
part of the
containment.
facility.
Yes.
"This is your new home," Daniel said, patting the back of the main swivel chair in the
Beginning
center.
rewind.
Ethan took it in, the dark room, blue light from monitors and keyboards, a row of black server towers in the corner, status LEDs blinking like bioluminescent insects. On one central screen, he saw a 3D map of the facility. Floors stacked like cross-sections of an ant colony carved into the mountain. Daniel pointed to the lowest level where only a few cells glowed. "This is Level A, and this..."
Word.
He zoomed into the central zone, one cell blooming larger with the label, Core A13. "Think of it like a heart," Daniel said. "Everything good and terrible runs through there." Ethan noticed one tiny camera feed in a corner, a dim room, soft lighting, something in the center that looked like a glass pedestal.
Look at the 7th panel.
"That the
Enhance the LED
core?"
feed now.
He asked.
I'm on it, running analysis.
"Yeah," Daniel said, "but it's boring on a screen. Come on, I'll show you the real thing." They walked down another stretch of hallway, this one sprouting yellow warning
You
signs
think you can
with
control this mess?
biohazard and high-voltage symbols on the walls.
The core
At the end of the
stabilizers are
hall
failing.
was a thick steel
I see
door
it.
with a
Alarms
small
are spiking across the
rectangular
board.
window
Shut it down!
at
Shut
eye
it down
level,
now!
flanked by a keypad and a badge scanner.
What are you doing here,
Core
Akakinets?
A13. The lettering was etched into the metal. Daniel swiped his
Nothing yet.
badge, punched in a code Ethan tried to memorize, but it evaporated from his mind as quickly as Daniel entered it. The lock clicked and the door eased open, revealing a room more circular than square, low-ceiling, soft white lighting, less like a hospital, more like a chapel designed by engineers. In the center, on a low platform, sat a glass coffin, edges rounded, perfectly transparent cables and thin tubing sprouting from its sides like translucent roots. Inside it was a girl. Ethan took one step closer, close enough to see her clearly. Lying on her back, hands folded over her abdomen, skin almost glowing under the lights. Light brown hair fanned across the headrest like a spill of water. Her face was so cleanly pretty it bordered on unreal, like someone had fed an algorithm 1,000 pretty enough faces and asked it to average them into one. A small plaque at the base of the glass read, Subject AUR-13, Aurora James. Our sleeping beauty, Daniel murmured, like it was natural to lower his voice in here. Ethan couldn't stop looking at the long lashes, the slightly parted lips,
I
the
can't ignore
slow,
this.
even rise and fall of her chest under a thin gray patient gown. She didn't look like any ICU patient he'd ever seen. She looked like a model doing a campaign for resting peacefully. She doing okay? Ethan asked, not entirely sure what he meant by okay. Depends what you mean by okay, Daniel said. Brain's
This
active,
can't be real.
body stable. The person part, I don't get paid enough to answer that. Ethan stared at her closed eyes, and some part of him, the part that had dragged bleeding men out of burning helicopters, felt uncomfortably familiar with a body completely surrendered to someone else's control. Golden rule, Daniel said, like he could read his thoughts. Don't touch the glass, don't open the lid, don't talk to her. If anybody ever tells you she talked back, she
Tự trấn an
can't
bản thân.
talk, Ethan said automatically. Yeah, Daniel said. Pray that's true. As they turned away, Ethan felt, not saw, just felt, that beneath the glass, Aurora's eyelids twitched like a dream about to break. Back in the control room, Daniel ran him through buttons, screens, how to log night reports. Ethan nodded in the right places, but his mind was still stuck in that circular room with the girl in the glass box. When Daniel left and he was alone with the wall of monitors, Ethan queued up the core A13 feed and scrubbed backward just to see he didn't know what. To see if he'd missed something. The recording showed him and Daniel standing by the glass, talking, then turning away. Right before they stepped out of frame, Ethan hit pause.
Is anyone there?
In the frozen image, he spotted something he hadn't noticed in person.
Go ahead, Core. I'm
Aurora's
listening.
right
Barely.
pinky beneath the glass, bent just a fraction off the perfect symmetry of
submitted
her
my
peaceful
report.
sleep pose.
That's all I can say right now.
Ethan zoomed in and stepped closer to the screen like he might hear something if he got near enough. For a heartbeat, he thought he saw that finger move just a little more, like the micro jolt of someone about to wake up. Ethan blinked
This violates
and hit
every
play.
law of
The
physics.
footage rolled on. They walked
Every
out of
logical
frame.
conclusion.
The girl stayed motionless, her hand back to perfect alignment. He told himself it was
Wait,
compression
what if this is all a
artifacts
test?
or tired eyes. Still, every time his gaze drifted over the camera wall, it swung back to the little box labeled Core A13, like a compass needle bitten by a magnet. On the second night, Ethan came back to the facility with a deja vu that felt almost scripted. Steel gate, glowing logo, silent parking lot.
I must make these difficult
The
choices for
building
the greater good
jutting
of
from
all.
the mountainside like last night had just hit rewind. He badged in, passed through the lobby, the hallway, the elevator like a pre-programmed ghost. No Caldwell this time. No introductions, just his own footsteps echoing inside white corridors. The security control room opened on the now familiar smell of warm plastic and dusted circuits. The wall of blue screens waiting like the whole facility was holding its breath for him to take his seat. Daniel was already there, nodding hello without taking his eyes off the screens. a near-empty energy drink can on the desk, label worn to anonymity by his fingers. Night 2 is when it starts to get boring,
Get me central.
Daniel said. Don't worry.
Now.
You'll learn to prefer boring over the alternative. They did a quick handoff. Door status, floor status, how many patients were in therapy sessions, a note about a false alarm on B level from a sticky door sensor. What about the core? Ethan asked, trying and failing to make it sound casual. Stable, Daniel said, flicking his gaze at the A13 feed. Vitals in range, no session scheduled tonight. If you're lucky, she'll keep sleeping like everyone's paid to believe she does. When Daniel left and the room belonged to the blue light and machine noise again, Ethan started his first real solo shift. Eyes moving from feed to feed, patients under electrode caps, empty corridors, storage rooms as cold as morgues. Every now and then he got up for a walk, just to remind his legs they still existed and his brain that the world had depth, not just two-dimensional squares on a wall. Level A's hallway was so quiet his footsteps sounded like they belonged to someone else. As he passed the core A13 door, he paused to peer through the small window. The glass coffin still sat in the middle of the room, the girl inside as motionless as a wax figure. He knew she was breathing because the machine said so. But through glass and distance, Aurora James looked more like an idea than a person. He made it back to the control room with the wall clock drifting toward midnight. The coffee in his mug had gone cold, the monitors still pulsing on schedule like the heartbeat of a sleeping beast. The next hours stretched like rubber. He checked cameras, logged notes, forced himself to read through the printed security procedures.
Everything changes.
A dry list of steps that somehow never mentioned princess in a box. Sometime close to 2 a.m., his eyelids started to get heavy, the text on the screens bleeding into streaks of light. He propped his elbow on the desk and rubbed his eyes, head feeling like it was sliding toward the cool surface. That was when he heard it. Talk. A small, dry sound popped somewhere above him, like someone's knuckle tapping on a hollow surface right over the ceiling. Ethan lifted his head and listened. The control room was exactly the same. Screens, servers, blue light. Nothing on the ceiling but smooth white panels and vents. He looked back down, deciding to ignore it. Pipes expanding, something settling. A normal sound his brain was trying to make interesting. Talk. This time the knock was clearer, less from the ceiling and more from somewhere inside the room through a speaker, like it was being piped down from the PA system. Ethan looked at the ceiling speaker, then down at the console. A row of tiny LEDs indicated which audio channels were live. One of them glowing a faint pulsing green next to A13 core audio. He was certain he hadn't turned the core audio on. Tuk, tuk. This time there was no mistaking it. The knocks came through the speaker, slightly distorted, but still carrying the unmistakable timbre of knuckles on glass. A small chill ran down his spine, the same feeling he'd had in the old days when he heard something scrape metal against a helicopter hull and didn't yet know if it was gunfire or flying debris. He reached out and toggled the A13 audio off. The green light died. The room sank back into steady machine noise. A few seconds passed. He almost convinced himself it had been some kind of interference, or someone testing the audio system and forgetting to mention it. Talk. This time the audio lights stayed dark. All of them. And yet the knock rang plainly from the speaker, like someone had flicked their finger against glass right at the back of his neck. Before he could think about it too hard, Ethan stood up, grabbed his radio and flashlight, and stepped quickly out into the hall.
Ethan!
The level A
Wait.
corridor was as quiet as ever, washed in greenish light. Doors closed and still, no one but him and his footsteps. He went straight to core, A13. The steel door stood there heavy, the narrow window like a half-lidded eye. Ethan leaned toward the window, hand cupped to cut the hallway glare. The circular room inside
I
glowed
only tell
softly.
part of the truth.
The glass coffin was there. Aurora James lay exactly
What
as he
is your
remembered.
assessment of the
Every
situation?
line of her pose matched to memory. He didn't hear any knocking now. Just silence and the slow sigh of climate control.
The system went live without
Someone
input.
testing the
Auto-activated
PA?
across the board.
He
We're
murmured
showing a
into the
critical
radio,
bypass on the
even
main
though
grid.
he
We need
already
to shut
knew
it
the
down now.
answer was almost certainly no. After a moment of static, the topside operator came back sleepy and annoyed. Nobody's
Bạn
scheduled
có
to
chắc
test
chắn là
anything
bạn đã
at
cân
this
nhắc tất
hour,
cả các lựa
Ward.
chọn
You
chưa?
hear something? Ethan glanced through the window again, then took his finger off the talk button. Probably interference. We're good. Just before he turned away, he noticed
We
something
had some
off.
trouble,
On
but
the
everything is
inside
under
of the
control.
coffin glass, near where Aurora's hand rested, a faint smudge, like the last traces of moisture that had once condensed and was now fading.
Báo cáo. Tín hiệu
It
đã ổn
was
định trở lại.
shaped
Đường truyền an toàn.
a little like a hand, not clear, not sharp. Just streaks of
anyone out
haze
there?
that his brain automatically stitched
Can you
into
hear me?
5 spread fingers.
Dừng
Ethan
lại ngay bây giờ.
squinted, trying to sharpen it in his vision. If she'd been lying like that the whole time, how had there been breath to fog it up from inside? The core room was kept cool and perfectly dry. He remembered the crisp chill on his skin.
Caldwell.
He backed up a step, suddenly aware that he might be reading way too much
Maintain
into
your
a
position.
dirty spot on glass. Bad cleaning. Someone's hand before they sealed it. Some boring explanation. Walking back to the control room, he tried to hold on to that version of the story. Pipes, glass, fatigue. Only when the fourth talk sounded, so soft this
It's not me
time
in
it
there.
felt more like it echoed inside his memory than through a speaker. He knew that sleep wasn't going to come easy tonight. Near 3 a.m., the facility had sunk into
Ethan
that
Ward
particular
logging.
kind of silence shared by places built to keep people alive, but shaped like places
Report
meant
complete.
to keep them in. Ethan sat in the control room, slouched in the swivel chair, fingers laced in front of his mouth like he was praying to the wall of screens. Half his brain counted cameras, the other half counted what he'd do with the paychecks, debt, his mother's medical bills, and maybe eventually an apartment where the windows looked out on something other than concrete. Core/A13's camera sat modestly
cycle
in the middle
24/7.
right row,
Routine
no
maintenance
bigger
initiated
than a
by designated
passport
operative
photo
Ethan
in the
Ward.
sea
All
of
systems nominal.
feeds.
Efficiency metrics stable.
No matter how hard he tried, his eyes kept looping back to it after every sweep. Aurora lay still under the glass, like last night's frame had been taped over today's. The wall clock ticked over to 3:07. Suddenly, every light in the room flickered. The monitors went black for a heartbeat, then came back. But the server rack in the corner let out a low, different kind of growl, like it was trying to drag
Honestly,
in
another
a
12
deeper
hours of
breath.
this blinking nonsense. The coffee
Ethan
machine's still
shot
busted, by the
upright,
way.
hand
Yeah, I
already
figured.
going
Just
for
log
the
out.
radio before his brain found a
again.
word for what just happened. The camera feeds came back one by one like apartment windows blinking on after a blackout. Core/A13 was one of the last tiles
closer
to
at the
light
code,
back
Daniel.
up.
Why does the
For the
anomaly
first
match the
half
flight recorder's
second, the
signature?
image there wasn't what he knew. Instead of a still girl,
Turns
he
out the
saw
firewall
two
update
shapes
caused a temporal
ghosted
loop.
together.
Classic.
One Aurora lying
We can't
down,
proceed with
another
the jump.
half sitting
Not
up.
yet.
Hair
Are
flared,
you
mouth
absolutely
open in
certain
either
this
a
is the only
grin
way?
or a scream.
Control,
He
this is
couldn't
Ethan
tell
Ward.
which
We have
before the
stabilization on
image
Sector Gamma.
snapped.
Acknowledged, Ward.
Then the feed stabilized and there was only one, Aurora James on her back, hands folded like nothing else had ever been there. Before Ethan could decide if he'd actually
The
seen
core
it or the
stabilizers are
dark
failing,
was
but that's
playing
not the real
tricks,
threat.
the lights
The Revelation
flickered
protocol
again.
is already active.
This
They know we're
time they
here.
went out completely. The control room plunged into darkness, leaving only a few status lights on the servers and the faint blue of power buttons glowing like fireflies. The alarm didn't sound, which meant
Listen
the
closely.
system didn't
They've
consider
breached the
this
outer
a
wall.
real outage.
We have less than 3 minutes before they reach the core.
Perfect. He muttered into the
The
dark.
logs are comprehensive,
Lights out,
Detective,
but the brain
as I've said,
thinks
the breach occurred
everything's
during the shift
fine.
change. We're looking into it.
He reached to his belt and flicked on the flashlight.
Готов!
The white beam slid over the console, the chair, the open doorway, then landed on the clock. the minute hand still crawling. Ethan stepped into the hallway, heart beating faster from the wrongness of the quiet more than the dark itself. Emergency strips along the baseboards kicked in, glowing a dim blue that turned the corridor into an underwater tunnel. Somewhere above, he caught a burst of distant cursing, the rattling of a cart, then everything sank back into machinery. His security instincts nudged him in the same direction as the night before, toward Core A13. The steel door surfaced in the beam, gray metal cold and flat. Core A13 catching the light like a scar. The little window was pitch black, showing nothing inside but a sheet of darkness reflecting his own face. He lifted the flashlight close to the glass and shone it through. The beam slid over the floor, the curved walls, the raised platform, and stopped on the glass
Interface
coffin in the
unresponsive.
center.
We've lost the outer grid.
The surrounding machines still
Reroute
glowed
power
with
now.
tiny
We're losing
green
containment in
status
Sector 4.
lights. Proof the life support hadn't gone offline. Aurora was still there, but in the flashlight's glare, her eyes
Reroute
weren't
power to
closed
Sector Gamma
anymore.
immediately. We are losing containment.
Ethan went rigid, hand clamping around the flashlight until his knuckles
What just
whitened.
happened? Reroute auxiliary power to the
Aurora's
main grid
eyes
immediately.
were locked onto his, not hazy,
Why are
not
you refusing
distant,
to answer
so
me?
awake it almost
What is
hurt.
behind that door that you don't want us to
Her
see?
mouth opened, head lifting a fraction off the rest, hair spilling back like something breaking the surface of a pool. The scream slammed into his ears through the facility speakers, before his brain even finished accepting that she'd moved.
They know you're here.
It's not me in there! The voice ripped down the corridor, warped by the speakers.
This is Unit 7.
But every
The
word
signal is
stabbed
stable,
clean.
but the encryption is holding. We need the
Inside,
bypass
Aurora
code now.
slammed her palm against the inner glass, hand sliding and leaving wet ghost trails along the tendons.
for the outer colonies.
Please, get me out of it, please! Ethan heard running footsteps somewhere behind him, radios crackling, but his whole world had shrunk to her eyes behind the glass. The emergency lights stuttered, that blue hallway glow fluttering in pulses like a heart with bad rhythm. In the split second between flickers, he saw not just one Aurora. Different versions of her jittered. One girl still lying with eyes closed, one half sitting, another hitting the glass harder, all layered like a video game glitch. Then the lights snapped fully on, bright enough he had to squint. The scream cut off mid-note, like someone had hit stop on a recording. Ethan blinked hard and leaned into the window again, looking for any sign that what he'd just seen wasn't something his brain had thrown together on its own.
Hello.
Inside,
Hello.
Aurora was still again. Her eyes were closed. Her hands were neatly folded over her abdomen. There wasn't a single wet streak on the glass. Ward! A sharp female voice snapped behind him. He turned, heart still racing, to see Dr. Caldwell striding down the hall with two staffers in her wake,
Test,
one of
test.
them
Can
clutching
you
a
read me?
tablet. What just
Are
happened?
the atmospheric processors
Caldwell
online
asked,
yet?
stopping a few steps short.
I know it looks bad, but we still have
Ethan
options.
opened his
Override
mouth,
the system and give
then
me eyes on Sector
realized
Gamma.
there was no
I
way
repeat,
to describe
execute the
what
override
just
now.
happened without sounding unhinged. Power flicker then. Audio came on. There was a scream from Core.
Scans don't lie, Ethan.
He said,
you have
choosing the
approximately
least
6 hours
crazy
before
parts.
synaptic collapse. Where is the
Did
drive?
you activate audio? Caldwell asked, glancing
Wait,
at the staffer
cross-reference
with
that
the
energy
tablet.
spike with the deep
No,
scan
ma'am.
archives. What
Ethan
exactly are we
answered
looking at?
immediately. I shut it off earlier. The
I
staffer
don't believe
sucked
it.
in a breath.
The manifest was a lie.
Log shows
We're standing
A13
directly on
audio
the core.
auto-activated for 7 seconds, he said, not from the console. Caldwell was silent for a beat,
How long
then
do we
turned
have until
back
the breach?
to Ethan.
Tell me the truth.
What
Where
exactly
did they take
did
her?
you hear?
We're running out of time.
Ethan thought of, it's not me in there.
Your data is
Thought
compromised.
of the overlapping
My analysis
shells of her
confirms the
inside
infiltration
the
wasn't
coffin.
external. The
Of
threat
the
is
hand
already inside
hammering
this
the
room,
glass
Major.
like it wanted to come through.
We proceed as planned.
A
Just know the
scream,
risks involved.
he said slowly. I couldn't make out the words.
The math is
Sounded
clear.
like
2 million lives
pain or
now
panic.
or everyone later. There is no other
Caldwell
option.
gave a small nod, like that answer slotted neatly into something she already had in mind. Her neuro indices spiked and dropped
alert
back
is
to
flashing red.
baseline.
Can you confirm
tablet
the
guy
target's
added.
location, Jeha?
No loss of vitals. Stasis maintained.
After everything we sacrificed for this
Caldwell
project, the
looked at
core
the window
still refuses to
at Aurora
stabilize.
sleeping,
It was all for
then
nothing.
spoke softly enough that only
They're
he
overriding
and
the
the other
protocols.
two would hear.
If we don't sever the connection
There are
immediately, the
occasional
whole
spikes
sector
like
goes
this.
dark.
Don't stand too close to the
The
door when
parameters
they
have been
happen.
met. Initiate the sequence.
Ethan swallowed,
Emotion will
suddenly
compromise the
very
objective.
aware that he'd had his face practically pressed to the glass seconds ago. And Ward, Caldwell added, eyes swinging back to pin him. If you see or hear anything unusual from subject
data doesn't lie.
AUR-13,
It's worse
you
than we
report
feared,
it to me
but I can
first,
fix it.
not anyone else. She turned away, motioning the staffers to follow, leaving Ethan alone in front of the steel door, feeling like he'd just
It's
been given
beautiful,
a
isn't
quick
it?
intro to a
The end of
dangerous
everything
animal
we
he
once
was
knew,
supposed to guard
illuminated
without
by its
ever
own
learning
creation.
its real name. He took
Is
one
that a threat?
last look through the window. Aurora still asleep.
Is that a threat?
Like a statue in a
We
museum.
thought we understood the darkness.
In his
but
head,
the void gazing
the
back is
scream
far
still
more
echoed,
absolute than we
every
imagined.
word sharp now, not warped, not needing speakers at all. It's not me in there. Back in the
What is
control
the
room
status
when he
of the
sat
core?
down in front of the
Did the
screens,
override work?
the core A13 tile glowed peacefully as if nothing had ever happened. Ethan pulled up the logs, saw a neural event,
We are the
R13,
experiment,
resolved, and told
Everything you see
himself
here,
to stick with
everything
that
we've built, it's
phrasing
all based
instead
on
of
a
the
lie.
word his mind kept reaching for. A locked-in person screaming. He marked the incident as
The data
acknowledged,
doesn't lie, Commander.
added
If
exactly
we reroute the
one
power
line
core now,
to
the
night
entire grid
report.
collapses.
Short
We have to
power
wait for the
flicker,
next cycle.
transient audio output
That
from
data
A13.
is inaccurate.
No
Cross-reference
further
with the deep scan
anomalies
logs from
observed.
0400 hours.
Then he killed the cursor, leaned back in the chair, eyes glued to the small box labeled Core SA-13, waiting to see if the anomalies would really stop there. Over the next 3 nights, there were no more
Look,
screams,
the
no
parameters were
blackouts,
unstable.
no
I
flickering
initiated the
lights,
failsafe
no
exactly as protocol
audio
demands.
auto-engaging
If the reactor is
from
critical,
Core
it's not because of anything I did.
A13. There was only the kind of normal that stopped feeling normal at all. Polished hallways,
The anomaly is
disinfectant
expanding
smell,
faster than
air
predicted.
handling,
If we
the
don't
clock
reroute power to
ticking
the
off
primary
minutes.
stabilizers within the next 90 seconds, the
Ethan
entire
did
sector goes
exactly
dark.
what he was paid to do.
Are we too late?
Watch cameras, walk the floors, fill in logs. Every night he checked the core window
You
at
didn't think
least
we knew,
once,
did
the
you?
way people check their front
data
door
doesn't
before
lie.
bed. Every time Aurora was still,
Welcome to our memory.
eyes
We can help you
closed,
upgrade
hands
your
folded,
life.
the machines
Experience
blinking
true
steadily in
happiness,
the rhythm of a
redefined.
heartbeat.
It was
He
my
wasn't
fault,
allowed
all
to
of it.
meet.
I
Apart
should have
from
seen
the
the
short
breach,
nightmares
the codes,
about a
the
screen
sequence, they were
cut
right
off
there.
mid-note, everything seemed back to fine. Daniel went back to complaining about software bugs, bad coffee, and being woken up too early
We have
for
reached
day
the final
shift.
iteration.
The topside
The
dispatcher
outcome is
griped about
irreversible.
budgets.
There will be no dawn.
Doctors and nurses walked the halls with the faces of people more used to bodies than to humans. All that made the memory of those eyes snapping open behind glass feel more and more like an accident in his imagination. On the 4th night, Daniel handed off the shift looking more tired than usual.
Warning.
Something up? Ethan asked when he saw the deeper circles under his eyes, the messier hair.
The core
Just the
temperature is
docs on
critical.
B like
What
stretching
is the
their
status
sessions,
of the cooling systems?
Daniel said,
losing
grabbing
containment.
a fresh energy drink.
Look at the readings.
Their
The
dreams,
stabilization
my
failed.
nightmares.
We have less than a minute before the cascade.
He
I'm trying to
hesitated
reroute
for
the
a
matrix,
second,
but it's
then
rejecting the
added,
command.
You getting used to this place's tricks yet? What do you mean? Ethan asked, trying to keep
You
his
think you
voice
can hide the
neutral.
truth from me in here?
Daniel
did you send the
shrugged,
package?
eyes skimming over the core feed on the monitor wall, then slipping away from it. Sometimes the system comes up with new features, he said.
I know I
Some
shouldn't have
folks
accessed
say
the core
they see
data.
things before their
But
coffee
after he
kicks
was gone,
in.
I didn't care anymore.
Others
I just wanted
hear
to see
their
what was
name.
left. I
Ethan
can't keep
gave
the
a dry
stabilizers
laugh.
online much longer.
Mostly I
The
hear
readings
my
are critical.
paycheck counting down. Daniel
if the
looked
core
at him
is-
a little longer than usual, like he was
Where did
testing
that-
whether that was a joke or a shield. If you
Attention,
ever
Command.
see her
This is
somewhere
Lieutenant
she
James.
can't be,
The singularity is
Daniel added,
destabilizing.
voice
We need
low.
immediate assistance,
When
or this
someone
station is
asks
lost.
you about it later, just say you
Wait,
didn't.
did anyone else see that fluctuation on the main screen?
See who? Ethan
Is the core
asked,
temperature stable?
though he knew he didn't need the answer.
Save your breath.
You know,
The simulation
Daniel
confirms
said,
the outcome.
I like
There
my
is no
job,
escaping
so
the
we
loop.
stopped there. He patted the back of the swivel chair in his usual way and left, leaving Ethan with the screens, the machines, and that
Don't lie to
dangling
me.
warning.
Where is the drive? And who
By
gave you the
around
override
2
codes?
a.m., Ethan's shift had been so uneventful, he started to
anomaly
feel
isn't
like
coming.
the fact he was still
It's already
alive was
here.
the strangest thing in the
It's
room.
inside you.
He'd done the rounds, checked locks, logged one patient shifting oddly in bed, then settling. Now he sat alone in the control room.
Where is the drive?
Overhead lights dim.
Tell me now, or this whole
Monitor
sector
glow
goes dark.
pouring blue over his face like an old TV in
Log
a 90s
entry,
living
supplemental.
room.
We are aware of the
His
shared
old
containment
coffee
breach.
sat by
The
his
disclosure
hand.
protocol is
He
active.
hadn't
We know you're
bothered
listening.
making a fresh one.
The data is
His
corrupted,
fingers
looping
tapped
back on
absently
itself.
on the desktop
40,000
in time
simulations
with
and the
his own
outcome is always the
heartbeat,
same.
steady
We're
and a
running out of
little
time.
fast.
Chúng
The
ta phải
core
làm gì đó ngay lập tức.
A13 feed was quiet.
Thời gian không còn nhiều,
Aurora
họ sắp
slept.
tới rồi.
The machines sang in even lines.
Stabilize the core immediately.
Ethan
Reroute
rubbed
auxiliary power to
his
the
eyes
shields.
and sank
We have
back,
less than 3 minutes
letting
until
his
breach.
vision blur into a
No,
carpet
look
of
at the
blue and
trajectory.
white pixels.
That's not possible.
He was
It
just
can't be
starting to
real.
slide into a shallow half-sleep when someone said his
If we
name.
accept the premise of non-existence,
Ethan.
the variables stabilize.
Not through the
It
speakers.
is the existence
No
itself that requires
distortion, no
explanation.
echo. Like someone
do you
standing
mean the
right
core is
behind
critical?
him,
Is the
speaking
shield
low
still
enough that
up,
only
or-
he would hear. He jolted, the chair
The
squeaking.
core stabilization is failed.
Daniel?
We have exactly
He called,
3 minutes to
turning his
initiate the
head
shutdown
toward the
sequence.
door.
If we wait any
The
longer, the
hallway
entire sector will
outside
be
was
lost.
empty. No one at the doorway, no one by the glass wall, just faint reflections of the monitors on the polished surface. Ethan. The voice came again, this time to his right, close, from a corner of the room he couldn't
The
see without
synchronization
turning.
failed. It has me.
A woman's voice.
Don't let it reach the core.
Young, clear. It wasn't Caldwell, and it wasn't any nurse or staff voice he'd heard before. Ethan turned the chair, heart kicking like the shift had just started. There was a person standing in the corner by the coffee machine and the little shelf of paper cups. She was wearing the same pale gray patient gown as in the core, hem at her knees, loose sleeves, bare feet on the cold floor. Light brown hair hung loose around her shoulders, a little mussed, like she'd actually just woken up. He knew that face. He'd stared at it through glass more times than he wanted to admit. Aurora James was standing in the control room in the smell of warm plastic servers and stale coffee. She wasn't translucent, not hazy, no weird halo around her. If he didn't know she was supposed to be in the core, he would have said this was a real girl who'd wandered in, barefoot because hospitals never gave proper shoes. "Hi," she said, like they'd just run into each other in a hallway instead of in the middle of a neural experiment.
It's all gone.
Ethan didn't answer right away. His gaze flicked to the monitor wall,
Rewind.
as if her image should be printed somewhere up there like a CCTV ghost. On the core, A13 feed, Aurora was
Daniel?
still lying in the glass coffin, eyes closed, hands folded. No camera showed the girl standing a few feet away from him. "Do you think you're dreaming?" she asked, tilting her head as if observing his reaction for a test. "I think if I were dreaming, I'd have picked something nicer," Ethan said, finally finding his voice. One corner of her mouth twitched, a half-formed smile like
possible.
it wasn't allowed to go any
How could they have
further.
breached the core?
"You're taking this well," she said. "Most of the others either
Right there.
scream
There
or
it is.
pray."
Right there.
"The others?" Ethan asked. "The ones who stood where you're standing, looking at where I'm standing," she said, pointing at her feet. "Believing in their heads, they're just night security." His heart thudded against his ribs. "What are you?" Ethan asked. "A hologram? A hallucination? Some corporate AI prank? Do you want the real answer or the answer you'll type in your report?" She shot back. He stayed quiet for a beat, then said, "Let's pretend real." "I'm the overflow," she said. "The part
They record
that
you.
leaks out of the box they stuffed me
Not
in."
me.
The way she said "they" put a chill down his back, even though the room
End of
was
shift.
still air. "And the one in there?" Ethan nodded toward the core feed. "The body with the heart, lungs, blood vessels?" she asked. "That's real me. The part they
They
keep
said the new
alive
sector
so they
would be
can keep
safer.
taking.
But the shadows
Last
here
time,
feel deeper.
You screamed," Ethan said, the words out before he decided whether to say them. "I remember," Aurora
I know
said.
you're watching this. It's not supposed to
Spikes.
happen this way.
That's what
the
they
memory
call
is
them.
corrupted.
Increased
Please,
activity.
Tell me where she is.
Incident. She took a step closer, monitor lights spilling over her face, making her irises glint like they were lit from the inside. "What do you call it?" she asked. Ethan swallowed. Someone stuck, screaming. Aurora nodded like he'd gotten an answer right. Good, you still have names for things, she said. They like it when people forget. They as in Everdream? Ethan asked. Or as in Caldwell? Everdream is the wrapper, Aurora said. Caldwell is the hand. Inside those two layers is a black hole. Call it whatever you want. Ethan
stay
felt
calm.
like he needed
We knew that
something
B-level
solid
processing
behind
takes
him,
time.
so he hooked
I
a
know, but
hand
look at
over
him.
the back of the
He doesn't
chair.
look good.
Okay,
All right, now,
he
let's keep
said, his
moving.
voice gone
Dr.
rough.
Lopez will see you
If
shortly
you're-
for your neural alignment.
Overflow, why me? Why am I seeing you and not everyone else? She studied him for a long moment, like she was deciding how much to
We know
give
you
him.
accessed the restricted zone.
Because
Scanner
this isn't
data is
your
conclusive.
first time
It wasn't
here,
me. You have to believe me.
Aurora said.
I was nowhere near level A.
For a few
The scan
seconds,
results
the
are
sentence
definitive.
didn't land.
The cybernetic
It
interface
slid
is showing
across the
signs of
surface
rejection.
of his brain,
We have
looking
limited
for something
options
to
left.
stick to.
The anomaly is significant, yes.
I got hired
We have
last
protocols in
week,
place for this exact
Ethan
scenario.
said.
Just relax.
Interview
The treatment will begin
paperwork
shortly.
down here.
That
You were
assessment
hired
is
last week.
incorrect.
She
The structural
corrected.
integrity failed
You
at the
came
nexus
here the
point,
first
not the
time
perimeter.
long before that.
Please have a seat.
A flash
just
of
wanna
some other
understand what
room
happened on
flickered
Sia.
in his mind.
Everything you
Same
share here is
disinfectant,
confidential.
same white light, but not the control room. The feel of something round, tight, and heavy being fitted over his
This is a
scalp.
violation of my rights.
He blinked
I demand
hard, shaking it
representation
off.
immediately. I will not
If
answer
this
another
is some
question.
hypnosis routine, I'm not your client, Ethan said. Aurora frowned like someone hearing a wrong answer on an easy quiz.
I assure you, Miss Vance, our only goal
I'm
here
not
in
doing
consultation room 3
anything,
is harmonization.
she said.
We just need to
They
understand the
linked you
extent
to
of the
me.
temporal displacement.
They threw you into someone else's dream to see where you'd break. When? Ethan asked, voice smaller.
I understand your
Before
concerns,
you were hired,
but the neural
she
synchronization
said,
process is completely
When you
safe.
thought you were just
We
signing
monitor
up for
everything.
insomnia treatment,
So,
remember?
the machine says I'm unstable.
Another
Shocking.
memory surfaced.
Did it also mention
An
your
email
success
ad
rate is
about
barely above
advanced
zero?
sleep therapy.
What difference
The
does it
promise
make
of
now?
nights without the ceiling.
We followed
He'd clicked.
protocol, and
He'd
look where it
filled
got
out
us.
forms. He'd thought, worst case, I lose an afternoon. Ethan felt like someone was tugging a thin thread inside his head, connecting
We know
two
the transition
distant
is
dots
difficult.
into a line.
But if you could just tell us what you remember
If
from
I'm
Sector
right,
Gamma, it would help.
Help us
Aurora
immensely.
said, you're on their
I've been over
records
this a
in more
dozen
than one
times.
way right now.
The bypass
He
was
was about
authorized.
to
Check the
ask
logs if you don't
what
believe
way,
me.
but right then
The
her
data log
image
shows you
flickered.
accessed the file
It
at
wasn't the lights.
04000.
The room stayed steady.
Explain why
Only
before I
she
activate the restraint field.
jerked, like her
call
signal
this
dropped
therapy.
for a frame and reconnected.
I call it an interrogation.
For a split second,
better
he could
mood
see
lighting.
through her, saw the cup shelf and the coffee machine, and then she was solid again. I'm not supposed to be here long, Aurora
The truth,
said.
Detective, is that the
her
host
voice
environment is
catching like
deteriorating
someone
faster than
talking while
projected.
running.
He's adapting to
says?
the consultation parameters.
Ethan asked.
Your strategy is
The
flawed.
system,
A compromised
she said.
asset is a liability.
Caldwell,
We don't negotiate
whatever you want to
liabilities,
call it.
Doctor. We
Every time I
neutralize them.
spill out of the box,
The asset
they
is
up the
compromised.
meds, up the
We have less than
pressure,
an hour
up
before the reset.
whatever they pump
Don't
into
engage
my
the
head.
regulator.
Aurora took another step. Now she was only a couple of arm lengths away. Want to know the worst part?
We
She
just need the
asked.
truth about Sector Gamma.
Ethan wasn't sure he did, but he
Where
nodded.
were you during the synchronization failure?
Some part of me wants them to keep
Save
going,
your analysis for someone
she
who
said
cares.
softly. Because
didn't ask
only
for this
when
upgrade,
they push
and
me
I
that
certainly didn't
far
ask for
do
your
I
sympathy.
spill out far enough to meet someone else. This time her voice shook a little, not from fear, but from exhaustion.
You think the data is
Aurora,
secure?
Ethan began, then realized he had no
But I
idea
know
what,
what they
he
did to
meant
room
to
3.
say after that. You can help me, she said, just not the way you think. What way do I think? Ethan asked.
Confirm my presence at the location.
Breaking the box,
Beyond that,
she
I
said.
cannot elaborate.
It's what everyone thinks the first time
You
they
accessed
see
the
me.
memory logs at 0400.
The image of
Why
himself
did you
that
delete the
other
coordinates,
night,
Doctor?
knuckles white on the
following protocol,
flashlight,
Lopez.
standing at the core door, their eyes meeting through 2 panes of glass,
They are coming.
flared back.
The signal is breaking.
So isn't that it?
Yes,
Ethan
I was there
asked.
when the data merge failed.
Didn't you scream for me to
explosion
get
wasn't
you
an
out of there?
accident. I ensured the
I
senator's
screamed,
presence.
she said. But I'm not always the one who screams. That line raised goosebumps on his arms like a cold gust.
Please confirm your designation.
What does that mean?
Did the subject react
You
to
think
the
I'm the
serum?
only one in the box? Aurora asked.
That
You
information
never
is
wondered why the
classified.
old logs used to say subjects with an S on some lines before they got scrubbed? He thought
Let's
of the
move on.
extra sub-level Daniel
about the
had
reports from
mentioned,
the lower
of
levels?
names on lists he hadn't seen yet.
We found the anomaly in your
But
neural
that was a
patterns,
problem
Doctor.
for another
The suppression
night.
chip failed at 0400
I don't have much
exactly
time,
when the breach occurred.
Aurora said,
No,
looking up at the
absolutely
ceiling
not. I
as if
deny
she could
everything
see
you're
the
saying.
tangle
I
of
wasn't
cables
there. I didn't
beyond
authorize
it.
the transfer. You have to
Do
believe
me a favor and check tonight's video logs.
Focus on the memory.
She said.
Where did you hide the drive?
After I'm gone.
Tell us the location.
Gone, Ethan echoed. You'll see yourself talking to empty
you
air,
expect me to believe that?
Aurora said. I won't
We
be
both
on the
know the
tapes.
data suggests otherwise.
Then how? He started.
Look, I understand
That's
your
the
concern,
point
Doctor,
you need to
but
get.
there's really nothing
She cut
clandestine
in.
happening here.
They record
Just
you,
standard protocol
not me.
adjustments.
I exist
The data
outside
is
the
irrelevant
frame.
now.
Her last sentence
We are
stretched,
moving to
the
phase
final
2,
syllables
and you will
warping
comply.
like a signal traveling
Very
down a bad
carefully.
line.
The implant
Her
has
whole body
destabilized.
jerked again,
Any
harder,
sudden
and this
shock
time
could
in
be
a
fatal.
blink. Ethan saw her appear
treatment
half
is
a step
mandatory,
to the right,
why
like
does the
two
consent form
frames
mention
pasted
cranial erosion as
badly
a side
together
effect?
and then merged.
This
They're
isn't
pulling
just a
me
data
back.
breach. We're looking
Aurora
at collective
said, her voice
hallucination
now
fields
sounding
spreading through
far
the neural
away,
network.
even though her lips still moved right in front of him.
You need to listen.
Wait,
They're tracking the signal.
Ethan said,
Don't make the
hands shooting out on
association.
instinct,
It's a trap.
like he could keep her
This
here
chip
with a
proves you
grip.
tampered with the subject data in room
His
3.
fingers met her skin. It wasn't
know you're
cold, wasn't
responsible for the
hot,
breach,
just
Doctor.
normal, like touching any living person. In that half second, he heard a pounding heartbeat.
We know you
No
were at the
idea
docks when
if
the
it was
shipment disappeared,
hers,
Lopez.
his, or
The
both
real question is,
overlapped.
Detective, how did you know I was there?
Then everything slipped. His hand went through empty air.
I can't tell you that.
Aurora
tell you
was
that.
gone. No fade out, no light show, no special sound. Just one frame with her in it and the next without. Ethan stood frozen in the middle
Tôi đã
of the
chứng kiến nhiều điều
room,
kinh khủng
hands
trong bóng
still
tối của thành phố này.
outstretched. The steady machine noise sounding like distant rain.
Which one of us is the construct, Doctor?
He didn't know how long
Because
he
I know it
stayed
isn't
like
me.
that until his legs went numb and he had to lower his
You
arm.
think this little chat counts as help?
Eventually, he did the thing he'd
Spare
have
me the
mocked
corporate
someone else
platitudes,
for.
Doctor. I know exactly
He
what this
rewound
is.
the tape.
The biometric scan
Ethan
doesn't
dropped
lie,
into
Doctor.
the chair, pulled up the
Why were you
control
in
room
Sector
feed,
Gamma?
and scrubbed the timeline back a few minutes.
You wanted the truth. The truth is,
On the screen, he watched himself
We are
sitting
all
alone, turning the
compromised.
chair, looking at the door, saying, Daniel. There was no girl in the corner. He watched himself turn back
what
toward
did
the
the
room,
scans reveal
lips
about his
moving, hands
subconscious?
gesturing, head nodding like he was
Anything
talking to
interesting?
someone right in front of
these are
him.
the terms, exactly as Aurora dictated.
But the frame
The asset
held
is
only
transferred upon
him,
acceptance of
the
chip.
monitor
Fail
glow,
to comply,
and an
and the
empty
agreement is
wall.
void.
No way, he whispered. Ethan ran and reran the part where he reached out.
You said the
On
victim
the
was
recording,
alone,
he just
but the
thrust his
biometric data
hand
shows
into
elevated
empty
stress
air and
levels
closed
right
his
before the
fingers
incident.
around nothing,
Someone
like
else
he
was
was
here.
grabbing a ghost the
As I
logs
recall, I was
refused to
stabilizing
admit
the plasma
existed.
regulator in Sector Gamma.
He paused
You can
the
check the
frame and
biometric
zoomed
scans if
in
you
on the
like.
glass panel in the back, where stray angles sometimes caught what the main camera missed. In a single frame,
consultation period is
faint
over.
as a
We are
forgotten
returning
thought he
subject
saw.
Lopez to full protocol.
Next to his
effective
reflected
immediately.
shape, a thinner outline with longer hair turned
Before we
slightly
proceed,
toward
I need to
him
know
as
the
if
exact
listening.
probability of neural
The
degradation.
next frame, it
Okay,
was
Sarah.
gone. Ethan leaned back in the chair, eyes glued
I'm
to
not
that
leaving this
smear
room
on the
until you give me
screen.
the coordinates.
He thought of Aurora's words.
believe you're awake,
They record
detective.
you, not me.
But which timeline are you referring
For
to?
the first time since he'd set foot in the facility, Ethan realized
I
his
accessed
fear
the
no
data stream
longer
at
felt like
0400.
battlefield fear.
That is all I can
It
recall.
felt like the fear of being
You said
written
you didn't
into
know him.
someone else's
The
story
biometric
without
scanner says
knowing it.
otherwise.
Care to
The
revise
next
your
day,
statement?
Ethan didn't get much sleep.
It was never
He lay
about
on
the
the
data.
bed in his short-term
It was about
rental,
me.
watching car light shadows
I
crawl
am the
across the
asset.
ceiling, trying to convince himself Aurora was just a product of a tired brain and a new job. It sounded reasonable
Perception
until he
is merely
remembered
the
the
brain's
feel of her
interpretation of
skin
data.
under his hand.
We can manipulate
Not
that
cold,
data,
not
and thus
intangible,
reality
not
itself.
vague.
They're lying
He
to
drifted
us.
in and out for a few hours,
All of it.
dreaming of screens looping footage of him talking to empty air. When he
If they
finally
activate the
woke,
network,
his
I
phone
lose
said
control.
the afternoon was almost
We have less than
gone.
an hour before the signal reaches the
There
core.
was an email from Everdream
Another
HR.
day, another existential
Reminder,
crisis.
mandatory
least the
routine
coffee here is
psychological
synthesized.
evaluation. The appointment was set for 7:30 p.m. B-level, consultation room 3.
Welcome to consultation room
Ethan
3.
clicked
The
his
data
tongue.
strongly suggests
He'd
this
had enough
optimized
military
restructuring
shrinks
package
for
is your
one
most viable
lifetime.
way out of the current
But
situation.
this was mandatory and he needed this job. That evening, he came in earlier than usual and took the elevator down
know
to
the risks.
B instead
But
of
if we
straight
don't expose
to
what
A.
happened in Sector Gamma, more people will
B-level
die.
looked more like a hospital
have the
than
data.
A. Landscapes in cheap frames on the walls, Plastic chairs along the hallway, a few patients sitting with thin blankets
It's
over their
exactly as we
knees.
feared.
A nurse
All the
pointed him to
data points to the same
consultation 3,
conclusion.
a half-glass, half-wood door with a little plaque. Dr. N. Lopez, psychiatry, neural support. Ethan knocked twice and pushed the door open. The room was small and warm, with an upholstered armchair facing a swivel chair, a low table between them holding a box of tissues and a stack
Medical
of old
assessment confirms
magazines.
you meet all parameters.
The
You are
woman
fit
in the
for
swivel
duty.
chair looked younger than he expected. Early 30s, dark hair pulled back, round glasses,
Ethan,
white
wait.
coat open over
The
a
data
dark
just
blue
came back.
sweater. Mr. Ward? She asked, voice soft but awake. Ethan, he said. I'm Dr. Nina Lopez.
There is a secret
she said.
channel
Have a
deep
seat.
in the network.
He sat
Only
in the
accessible
armchair,
through the
feeling his
legacy
back
codes.
sink deeper into the cushioning
The
than he
implant
liked.
isn't for my health, is it?
I
It's
should
so you
say
can
up
monitor my
front,
thoughts before I even have
Ethan
them.
said. I'm okay. I'm here
Where
for
were
the
you when the breach
paperwork,
occurred,
not
Ms.
because I
Lopez?
think I'm broken.
Doesn't matter.
Lopez
You already think you
smiled
know.
and drew out a pen.
The data looks
The
promising.
good news is
despite the
nearly
side
everyone
effects.
in that chair
Get
opens
some
with
rest
the same
and
sentence.
try not to worry too much.
She said. The bad news is that doesn't prove anything. Ethan exhaled, not quite a laugh. Okay, she went on. This is a standard periodic eval for staff working near the Dreambridge program. I'm not the police and I'm not HR. No one on the board reads the raw transcripts. You're allowed to be as honest as you can stand. Dreambridge, Ethan repeated. Catchy name. Marketing came up with it, Lopez said with a shrug. We call it the neural linkage protocol. Less dreamy, more honest. She flipped a page on her clipboard. You work on A-level core side adjacent to that system, she said. What have you been told about
The
it?
upload is failing.
Ethan
We're
shrugged.
running out of time.
Special patient. Experimental
Give us the
sleep
coordinates
therapy
now,
helping
Ethan.
other
Don't
comatose
resist.
patients. Something along those lines. Do you believe that? Lopez asked bluntly. I believe they really like the word experimental, Ethan said. Lopez let out a short laugh that disappeared quickly. Me too, she
Anomaly
said.
detected at Sector 4.
But there's a part that's
I'm
true.
reading
We
high
use
energy
the neural
spikes.
activity of one unusually capable subject as a host environment for other patients. A kind of shared
the data is
dreaming, controlled,
Doesn't mean it's useful.
unusually capable, Ethan echoed. Sounds like
Lost
how you
contact.
describe a
Reroute to
good
Sector
firearm.
G12. Move.
Depends who's holding it, Lopez replied. She put the clipboard down and laced her fingers. You've done therapy before, Mr. Ward?
Status report confirms
Mandatory
stability,
with the
but the power
Army,
fluctuations are increasing.
Ethan said.
Reroute auxiliary power immediately.
Debriefs,
We can't trust
assessments,
the
a
primary
few
grid.
sessions where they asked about
Don't
things
look at
they
the
had
screen
no
yet. I
intention
rerouted
of
the
fixing.
signal, but they're tracking the bypass. We need to shut it down
Lopez
immediately.
nodded like she'd heard that line before.
Why did you reroute the power stream?
Right now, she said, putting weight on it. I just need the basics. How you're sleeping, whether you have thoughts of harming yourself or others, whether you're seeing or hearing
The odds
things you're
haven't
not
changed.
sure are real.
We can optimize the flight path all you want,
Ethan
Captain.
felt her
The math
gaze
still
linger
says we're
on
dead
that
in the
last
water.
item. Sleep's not great, he admitted, but not worse than the last few years. No plans to hurt anyone, just
Listen to me.
thinking
Once
about
you're through
rent.
that door, there's no coming back.
And the
Be
seeing or
careful.
hearing weird things part? Lopez asked, not letting it go. Ethan thought for a second. Aurora had told him. When they ask later, say you didn't see me. Daniel had said almost the same in his own way.
The firewall is down.
Sometimes
I'm
I
in.
hear rotor
Let's see
blades
what
in
you've
my
been
head
hiding.
when I'm falling asleep, he said. Flashbacks, the army docs called them. But I know what they are. Lopez wrote a couple of lines. Severity? She asked. Manageable, Ethan said. She nodded, then shifted gears. Have you ever participated in a Dreambridge session? No, Ethan said, a little too quickly. A flicker, electrode cap, white light, someone telling him to relax and count down from 10. Are you sure? Lopez asked, eyes narrowing a touch. If I did, I don't remember it, Ethan said. And honestly, I'm not grieving the loss. Lopez watched him for a moment, then let it go. All right, she said. I'm not here to drag the past out of you.
They
But
tried
I'll
to
be
bury the
blunt.
truth in the code.
Working near the
but I can
core
see the
means you're
glitches
around
now.
things the average
It's all
brain wasn't
connected.
designed to process on a daily basis. Like what? Ethan asked. Amplified neural activity, Lopez said. Collective hallucination fields that can leak. People can sync up more than they realize. Ethan remembered Daniel's warning. If you see her somewhere she can't be. You're talking about Aurora, he said. Lopez neither confirmed nor denied. Have you read her file? She countered. Just the nameplate, Ethan said. Subject AUR-13, Aurora James, that's it. Lopez exhaled softly. She's the first case that survived long enough for us to build a protocol around, she said. Before her, a lot of people didn't hold up. They died in the middle of the shared dream? Ethan asked. They died of medical complications on paper, Lopez said, sounding more sour than cold. And in your opinion? Ethan pressed. In my opinion, Lopez said carefully, the human brain has limits, and we forced some people to live past those limits. Ethan said nothing. Why are you looking at me like that?
The entire
She
fleet
asked,
just
half
disappeared.
smiling. I'm trying to decide if you're part of the hand or part of the black hole, Ethan replied. Lopez frowned, then let out a small laugh. Who have you been talking to that uses that language? She asked. I read the recruitment materials, Ethan lied. They're very poetic. Lopez watched him a few more seconds, then decided to believe him, or to pretend to. Do you have any questions for me, besides how long this evaluation's going to take? She asked. Ethan hesitated, then said, if someone saw something the cameras didn't pick up, what would you say? Lopez leaned forward a bit. I'd ask, where did it happen? She said. In the facility, Ethan said. In a room with a camera. Which level? A, he said. Core. Lopez exhaled like she'd guessed right. Then I'd say that doesn't automatically mean you're crazy, she said. It means you're standing near someone whose perception is strong enough that normal
Look at Sector
equipment
4.
doesn't catch all of
The
it.
energy readings, they don't align
You're
with the projection.
saying I tuned into Aurora? Ethan asked. I'm saying Core isn't just a room, Lopez replied. It's a field. People who are more sensitive, history of trauma, insomnia, prolonged stress can become antennae. Lucky me, Ethan said dryly. I hit the trifecta.
That's impossible.
Lopez pressed her lips
Coordinates are
together
changing.
like she wanted to push back and chose
destabilizing the
not
core.
to. Do you want to transfer to a different floor? She asked. I can recommend it if you feel Core is destabilizing you. Ethan thought about his mother, about hospital bills, about his account balance. A lot of other jobs paid less than watching a sleeping girl. I can handle it, he said. I just needed to know I'm not the first one. Seeing things the cameras don't. Lopez's eyes softened a fraction. You're not the first, she said. And unfortunately, you probably won't be the last. Ethan glanced at the wall clock. Are we done? He asked. Lopez hesitated, then nodded. For now, she said, you'll get an email saying you're fit for duty, on paper anyway. As he stood, she called, Ethan. He turned back. If you see anything again, Lopez said, you can tell Caldwell, or you can come straight here. You'd believe me? Ethan asked. Lopez shrugged with a faint smile. I work with professional
wasn't a
dreamers,
glitch.
she said.
It was a warning.
I know what pretty lies sound
meant
like.
to see it.
If you're lying, I'll know. If you're not, at least you won't be the only one carrying it. Ethan nodded, making no promises. He left consultation 3, returned to the elevator, and hit the button for A. As the doors slid shut, he saw his reflection in the steel and, for a heartbeat, another shape just behind his shoulder. Long hair, tilted head, eavesdropping. He blinked. Just him in the metal.
Wasn't supposed to be
The
your
elevator
future,
sank,
remember?
carrying him back to A level, back to the control room, back to the little box on the screen marked Core A13. The place, if Aurora was right, he'd been to before his own memory ever showed up. That night, Ethan showed up earlier than usual. He passed the gates, lobby, elevator like always. But instead of familiarity, he felt like he was walking back into a dream he'd only just woken from. Aurora's and Dr. Lopez's words twisted together in his head. They linked you to me. You're an antenna.
Are you seeing this?
This isn't your first time.
How is that
here.
even possible?
When the elevator doors slid open on A level, Ethan paused halfway
Ethan,
out like
it's
if
not
he
real.
stayed one more
None of this is
second
real.
between floors he could dodge having to choose.
The
He
anomaly
stepped
isn't
out
on the
anyway.
screen. It's sitting right
The
here.
control room was dark, lit only by the screens washing, the walls in pale blue. Daniel was there typing something at the console with the speed of someone who knew every key by heart. "You're early," Daniel said without turning around. "Couldn't sleep," Ethan said. "Huh." Daniel nodded like that was the only acceptable answer in this place.
Let them watch the screens.
The shift
real game
handoff
is
went
played right
faster
here,
than usual.
off the
No
record.
alarms, no
And trust me,
outages, no
we are
logged
winning.
neural spikes from
Don't lie to me.
AUR-13
The
since the
telemetry doesn't
screaming
match the
night.
reports. You let them
Core's
bypass
quiet,
the perimeter.
Daniel said. "If you see anything interesting, pretend you didn't." Ethan looked at him a beat too long. "You ever
Wait, zoom in there.
see anything?"
Since when
Daniel
does the simulation
smiled, a
account for
thin
localized
paper
temporal
smile.
distortion?
"I see my paycheck,"
It's worse than we
he
thought.
said.
The signal
"I let
interference
Psych
confirms
handle
the
the rest."
infiltration. We have
He
maybe
gathered
5
his
minutes
stuff,
before they reach the
shrugged
core.
on his jacket,
This is
then
unacceptable.
stopped at the doorway and added, "Don't put too much faith in them calling you fit for duty. They said that to everyone who bailed
The
before
more
you."
we digitize our existence,
Then
the further
Daniel
we drift
left,
from
and
what it
Ethan was
means to be
alone
human.
with the wall of screens
Control
and
is
the
merely
steady
an illusion.
machine hum.
Why is the anomaly fluctuating?
Ethan sat,
I need an answer now.
eyes sweeping the feeds
it
as
stable,
usual,
or is
but he
the core
wasn't
going
waiting
critical?
for things to happen tonight.
They call this progress.
He intended
I call
to go
it
looking.
inevitable.
After finishing
The
his
data
initial
confirms the
checks,
asset
he
is
pulled
secure.
up the system logs, an interface most
Status.
guards only use to replay basic incidents. He scrolled through the list, hunting for entries tagged AUR-13, Core, Neural Event. Every timestamp was a
Everything is
story
dissolved.
crushed into a few words. Neural Event, resolved.
Are the stabilizers failing?
Minor artifact.
Did they breach the perimeter
Dismissed.
yet? We have to move now.
Technical glitch. No action. He dragged the timeline back to the weeks before he was hired. The system asked for elevated credentials.
I decrypted the anomaly signature.
Ethan
It's not a
hesitated for a
natural
second,
phenomenon,
then
Ethan.
typed in the
Someone
code
is
Daniel
controlling
had
it from
once
Sector
punched
Gamma.
in. Assuming Ethan hadn't been looking, it opened. No warning. No polite beep telling
This
him
isn't
he
just an
wasn't
isolated
allowed.
incident anymore. The entire sector
No
is
one
compromised.
here is the only
We have to
one
warn
with
the
a
others before it's
secret,
too late.
he told himself.
Where were you when
The
the breach
log
occurred,
rolled
Aurora?
upward and the colors changed.
Why didn't the sensors detect
Older
it?
entries were tagged archived, limited. Their text a duller gray like the past had been dusted over. He stopped on a cluster of entries from a few
Look at the
months
energy
back.
signatures, Ethan.
Session
It's not localized, it's spreading across the
AR-13.
grid.
Extrude.
fail-safes should have contained it.
Subject.
That's
Initiated.
impossible. I didn't authorize
Session
the data wipe, I swear.
AR-13.
The access codes weren't mine.
Subject. Terminated. Voluntary. Between those two lines was a gap. Several minutes with no logs at all. Just a hole. Ethan checked the session time. Late afternoon, same weekday as the day he'd first
This
come
data
to
chip contained the
Everdream.
localized anomaly.
Just to
if
ask
we introduce
about
it to the main
insomnia
grid, the
treatment.
cascade effect is inevitable.
He highlighted
Probability-
that span and clicked video. The main screen swapped into playback mode. A counter counting down
The
from
system is vulnerable,
000
just like me.
to 0732.
But we both adapt. We survive.
An image appeared. White room, recliner, machines, a man lying back with an electrode cap on his head. The
All this
camera
data,
angle was
all
from
this
above,
power,
so he
and we
couldn't
still
see
end
the
up
face
right back
clearly.
here. It's almost poetic.
But he
in its
recognized
stupidity.
the way the body lay.
The coordinates
right
don't
hand
match the
curled
manifest.
with the thumb touching the index knuckle.
Where exactly did the
a
freighter
habit
divert
he used
course?
when he tried to calm down.
The focus parameters are
No
fluctuating.
way.
I'm initiating
Ethan
a manual
whispered.
override to the
He
stabilization
slowed the
sequence.
playback.
It's stabilizing now.
A
Core
tech
systems
entered
are
the
online.
frame, affixing more electrodes, saying something the camera mic didn't pick up. At the edge of the screen, overlay info flickered.
Wait.
XT. Subject
coordinates
Ward
reversed.
Ethan. Trial
trap.
status completed. Ethan's chest tightened. He was watching himself in a moment he didn't remember ever living. In the bottom right corner, a picture-in-picture tile read Core Cam AUR-13. That tile was solid black. Ethan enlarged the smaller feed. This time, the core camera resolved. Glass coffin in the circular room, machines around it, but inside.
There it is.
Nothing.
The primary sequence.
No Aurora.
It worked.
Just the empty cradle, a clean white cushion, cables waiting
Director,
like the
with all due
innards of an
respect,
animal
how can we
missing
trust the
its
data
heart.
stream if the relay is compromised?
When the hell was this? Ethan murmured, glancing at the time.
The simulation results are confirmed. There is
It
no
was months
possibility of
ago,
survival.
right in the window when he'd started having those short blackout stretches he blamed on stress and exhaustion. In the video, the man, him, lay still, eyes closed, chest rising and falling. The overlaid text updated. Link AUR-13, pending host occupancy. Pending host, Ethan read under his
breach
breath,
is widening.
waiting for
I can't hold it much longer.
a host.
Override the safeties,
He
hurry!
skipped ahead to the end. In the final
Did the
second, the
transmission
white
go through?
room feed smeared and flipped
Are they
to
safe?
no data. File corrupted.
The only
But the
difference
core
between this
tile
data
kept
noise
playing.
and people
Ethan
is that the
maximized the
data
core
doesn't
again.
pretend to be
The glass
meaningful.
coffin now had someone inside. A girl, gray gown, light brown hair, hands on her abdomen. Overlay now read. Host occupied. Subject AUR-13. ID Aurora James. There was no transition. No footage of her being moved in, no staff, no lifts or straps.
Your explanation for the data
One
spike
frame
is
empty.
compelling, Lieutenant.
The next,
But the numbers
she was
don't
there,
lie,
perfect,
and
like
neither
someone
do the
had dropped
cameras.
a still shot on top. The back of Ethan's neck went hot. The princess wasn't carried in, he thought. She was pasted in. He replayed it over and over, hunting for even a hint of motion, a shadow,
They anticipated
anything
the
to
firewall,
bridge
Commander,
the cut.
but they didn't
There
account
was
for the
nothing.
quantum encryption loop I
Just a
implemented this
gap in
morning.
the logs,
We're
a
secure.
moment of no data. And then Aurora James there as if she'd always been. Ethan leaned back in the chair,
The
eyes
sector grid is
still
unstable.
pinned to the
We have
screen.
exactly 4.2 minutes before the
The princess
synchronization
got
cascade
swapped.
fails. Prepare for
Aurora
immediate
had said.
lockdown.
They
Well,
kept
the good
story,
news is the
changed
self-destruct
the
sequence is
actress.
fully optimized now. The
He
bad
killed
news?
the playback and returned to the
Everything
log
else.
view.
Like
This
evaluation
time he
confirms
searched
high
for a
latent
different
aggression.
keyword.
Predictive modeling suggests a
Subjects
92%
AUR,
chance of
with an
catastrophic
S
failure
at
if
the end.
deployed.
A few
don't care
older
what the
entries
protocol says.
surfaced.
We have
Flagged
to do this my way,
redacted.
or everyone
See
dies.
admin. The titles remained. Subjects
Subject 47,
AUR-7 to
codename Ethan.
AUR-12.
Highly volatile.
Termination summary.
Exhibits extreme paranoia and tactical.
Everybody
Absolutely
text
not.
line beneath
I will
it
not
been
authorize the
replaced by
synchronization.
content
Not while the
removed.
system is compromised.
AUR-13, Ethan muttered. So what happened to 1 through 12? A voice answered him. Not from the
core is
speakers,
destabilizing
not from
faster
the
than
hall,
predicted.
but from
If we
just
don't shut it
behind
down
his
now,
right
we lose
shoulder.
everything.
They sleep deeper than I do, Aurora said. Ethan whipped around. She was leaning against the glass wall by the server rack.
You accessed the mainframe
arms
logs at
folded
0
like this was
400 hours.
someone's living room
Why did
and
you
not
erase
the
the data
heart of
packet,
an
Caldwell?
illegal neural experiment. This time he didn't check the screens first. He looked straight at her. Don't bother.
Tell me, Chief, when the breach
Aurora
occurs,
Suyumud
will your protocols
said,
protect us
catching
or
his
merely
look.
delay the inevitable?
They won't be recording me. I just watched the footage, Ethan said. The day they put you in. Or more accurately,
The structural
Didn't.
integrity is paramount. I
a
repeat,
flicker of
you must not
confusion
break the
crossed her
containment key.
eyes and then was
Don't
gone.
break it.
What did you see?
You know this
She
violates
asked.
the core directives.
An empty
We
box.
can't sacrifice our humanity
Ethan
for
said.
perceived safety.
Then no data. Then you, already laid out, copy-pasted. Aurora swallowed lightly like someone listening to a story they
Your legalistic
themselves hadn't
definition
been
confirms
present
that
for.
this asset is
I
and
don't
will
remember
remain
going in,
strictly
she
research
said.
property.
I remember being
Why
in.
didn't you tell me the drive was
Like
corrupted?
opening my
How are
eyes
we
and the
supposed to
world
escape
having
now?
already made all the choices. And AUR-7 through 12? Ethan asked, nodding at the logs. The drafts, Aurora said quietly.
The access codes. Now,
The versions that didn't
I
stay
won't ask
stable
again.
enough to play the
you understand
official
the consequences
princess.
if you refuse.
They dead?
My authorization
Aurora
codes were
shrugged.
compromised.
A gesture
I
so
logged the
defeated
irregularity
it nearly
immediately,
looped
checked the
back
timestamps.
around to indifferent.
They
Some,
think that firewall will
she
stop
said.
us.
Some
How quaint.
dissolved. Some are still here, just not solid enough to count. Where? Ethan asked. She tapped her temple. Here, she said. In between all the pieces they stitched together. You think the scream the other night was just one
We have a
person?
breach on Sector 4. Reroute
Ethan
all power to
remembered
the
the
main defense
scream,
grid.
layered,
I want status
warped,
reports
words
every 30 seconds.
fracturing. Part me, part them, Aurora went on. The ones before me. Some don't want the box broken at all.
Probe is active.
Some
Signal
just
stable.
want it smashed.
I'm
Don't
reading
care
a
what
definitive
happens
trace of these
afterward.
coordinates.
What about you? Ethan asked. What do you want? Aurora was quiet. You were
Your
in
input
there,
is no longer
she
required.
said instead.
The decision has been made.
On the recliner
We
with the
proceed as
cat.
ordered,
I
regardless
remember
of the
your
cost.
patterns.
You need to
I
understand
don't,
the gravity of the
Ethan
situation.
said.
We are
That's your
dealing with
weakness,
forces beyond our
Aurora
comprehension.
said.
The danger
Why
is
they
very
decided
real.
you were safe. Ethan looked back at the log, his name printed calmly on the overlay. They tested
option
you
is
with
no
an
longer
empty
available.
core, Aurora
The decision has been
explained,
made.
to see how you reacted to a coffin with nobody inside. And? Ethan asked. You held, she said. Your head didn't break, just cracked a little. Enough for them to know you could feel it, not enough for you to run. Ethan let out a laugh with
It's
no
initiated.
humor in it.
Now we wait for the confirmation
Recruitment,
signal.
modern style, he said. Stress
Die
test
is
the
task,
fracture line,
Commander.
then hire
You
whoever
cannot
doesn't
unring the
snap
bell, no
while
matter how
staring at
loud
the
you
monster
scream.
in the basement. I'm the monster? Aurora asked, tilting her head. I'm talking about the box, Ethan said. Whatever's inside, jury's still out. Aurora pressed her lips together like she was trying not to laugh at something painfully true.
There is no princess
You talk
here,
like
Ethan.
someone who's been on
Only the
both
machine.
sides already, she said, inside the box and on guard duty. Ethan was ready to argue when the monitors
They lied
in front
about
of him
everything.
flickered.
The data confirms it.
Not all of them,
I'm not just an observer.
just
I'm
core
the
slash
target.
A13. The image inside it smeared and split in two. One Aurora lying in the coffin.
It's all
One
just code.
standing in the control
never woke
room
up.
next to him. For a weird moment, he saw the Aurora beside him, not with his eyes, but through Core's camera, the control room. Behind her, chair, monitor wall, two figures standing. See? Aurora whispered. I'm starting to leak into their hardware, too. Is that good or bad? Ethan asked, not sure which answer he feared. Depends whose side you're on, she said. On the screen, red text flashed. Visual anomaly detected. Core A13, auto-correcting. The image of Aurora in the control room jittered like a scrambled signal, then flattened out, leaving only the glass coffin with a sleeping girl. Aurora, the one beside him, winced, hand going to her temple. When they autocorrect,
It's
she
synchronized.
said, it's like someone
The magnetic
peeling my
field isn't
scalp
pulling
off
us
my
apart.
brain.
It's bringing us back online.
They know you're here? Ethan asked. They know something's out of frame, Aurora said, but they prefer to call it noise. Noise can be fixed. People are messier. The control room door opened without a knock. Ethan spun around. The Aurora beside him was gone, as if yanked away by her own autocorrect. Dr.
You know you can
Caldwell
trust me,
walked
Ethan.
in,
This is the only
tablet
way
in
out.
hand,
It hurts.
eyes skimming the
Why are we
screens
doing
before
this?
landing on him. You watching
Stay focused,
something
Ethan.
particularly
Package is
interesting,
secure.
Ward?
Just 3 more clicks
She
until the
asked.
rendezvous point. You got this.
Ethan flicked his gaze to the screen. The log he'd opened still showed Session AUR-13,
None of this matters, it's just
exertum
war.
subject,
There's
Ward,
no escaping
Ethan.
the past, Ethan.
He closed the window as fast as he
Not
could
even
without
here,
making
in
it
the dark.
obvious. Just reviewing the blackout incident, Ethan said. Caldwell said nothing for a second, like she was measuring how much truth was in that sentence. I just got the psych log, she said. Dr. Lopez marked you fit for duty. Honored, Ethan said dryly. She also noted you have a tendency to increase cognitive activity when confronted with incomplete information, Caldwell went on. In English? Ethan asked. You hate gaps, Mr. Ward, Caldwell said. You try to fill them with guesses. Most of the time, guessing beats not knowing, Ethan said. Caldwell stepped closer, standing beside his chair, staring straight
Look at the data
Core
stream. It's replicating the Sector
A13.
Gamma event almost perfectly.
With some
Denial won't
systems,
change the outcome this
she
time,
said,
Kaido.
the more you try to fill the gaps, the
What's
more
the point of
damage
monitoring
you
the
do.
inevitable? It's all just stalling.
Ethan followed her gaze. Aurora asleep.
I knew it.
Machines
They're bypassing
singing.
the firewall through the auxiliary conduit.
Everything looked
We've lost
perfect.
containment.
Which system? He
Look at the
asked.
energy readings.
Core
Whatever happened on
or
the
my
surface is
head?
causing a cascade failure. We need to
Caldwell
reroute
turned back
auxiliary
to
power
him, the
now,
corner of
or
her
we lose
mouth
everything.
almost twitching up. You haven't realized those two are not entirely separate anymore? She asked.
The
Before
numbers
he could
stopped
answer,
making sense
she went
hours
on.
ago.
I don't
We're
care
just
how
watching
deep
the
you dig
inevitable
into the
now.
logs, as long
It's
as you
finally
do your
here.
job. Maintain
You assured me
security,
the
report
firewall was
anomalies, and
impenetrable.
don't break what we've
Explain
spent a
that
great
before the
deal to
system
build.
collapses.
What if what you built is a person? Ethan asked quietly. Caldwell stopped, studying him for a beat.
Her exact words.
Person is a flexible
The paradox
word,
will consume
she
the
said.
network by dawn.
On paper, AUR-13 is research property. In practice, she's the bridge keeping dozens of other patients from dying. And AUR-7 through 12? Ethan asked before
Are
he
you
could bite.
absolutely certain the data hasn't been compromised?
Caldwell's eyes cooled by
The
a
anomaly
degree.
is centered right there in the
You've
southeast
accessed
quadrant.
logs that aren't
Zoom
in your
in,
clearance
analyze
band,
the energy signature
she said.
immediately.
Just the titles, Ethan said. The contents are scrubbed. Sometimes titles are more than enough for people to invent the rest.
The data confirms the breach is
Caldwell
irreversible.
replied.
There's nothing more we can
She
do.
lifted her tablet and tapped a few times. On his screen,
We've
the
scanned
archived,
everything.
limited
The data
section
confirms there is
faded and
absolutely
then
no
vanished.
evidence they were ever here.
You don't need those to complete your shift, Caldwell said. If there's something you need to know, I'll tell you. If I don't tell you, you don't need it.
Stop lying to me. I know you
Ethan
initiated
clenched
the
his
sequence.
hand under the desk where she couldn't see. And if Aurora disagrees, he probed. A thin line of tension appeared across Caldwell's
If you say so.
forehead.
I stopped
then
believing the
smoothed.
readouts an hour ago.
AUR-13 does not have access to
You said
security
terminate with
protocols,
extreme prejudice.
she said.
I want to know who gave that
And
order.
you do not have the
Was it
authority
Section
to
5?
turn whatever she says into policy. What she says doesn't show up in logs,
It keeps
Ethan
happening.
said
The
slowly.
bed, the waiting room, the
But
mirror.
it does
They
in
aren't just
people's
dreams. I know
heads.
they're real. Something is wrong with the data
Caldwell
stream.
held his gaze for a long
I know
moment,
what you
then
did.
said,
The logs
"That's
don't
why
lie.
we have psych."
Stand down, or
She
I
turned
release the
and
data.
walked to the door. "Ward," Caldwell added with her hand on the door handle. "Yeah? You were hired to guard a system, not rescue a fairy tale
Override.
princess," she said. "Don't confuse those roles." The door
know where
shut
the
behind
resistance is
her,
hidden.
leaving Ethan
me. I'm
alone
the
with
one
the
who told them.
monitor wall now stripped of older logs. He knew less than he had an hour ago, and he also knew one thing more clearly. Aurora
memory
was
is
not
corrupted,
just a
Daniel.
princess in a glass
But the
box.
truth
She was a
remains the
role
name.
a lot of people had
You can't
tried
escape
on.
what you did.
A lot of people had died in.
Wait, the coordinates are
A lot
fluctuating.
of people had melted
Are you telling me we're
inside
locked out?
before it ever got to her. And
It
he'd
wasn't
been hired
sabotage,
to
I
guard
swear.
that role
The
to
schematic
keep
clearly
anyone
shows a
from
phase
tearing
differential in
down the
Sector 4.
set.
I initiated the purge protocols
But the longer
immediately.
he stared
The
at the
data
little
confirms it.
tile labeled
He knew we were
Core
coming.
Yoshoi-13,
This wasn't an escape, it was a
the
purge.
more certain he became he wasn't going to be able to just stand outside and watch this play through, clap politely, and clock out.
All this time,
Because
I
if
thought we were
Aurora
building
was
a better
right,
world.
part of him had
it
already
was just
been
another
inside
corporate
the
ladder,
box
wasn't it?
once. They just edited that scene out of
If
the
this
tape
data stream is accurate,
and
then
out
that
of
one
his
is lying.
mind.
Which system are we supposed to
The
trust?
next day,
the
Ethan
localized
didn't
chronometer
go
or the
straight
central
home
nexus?
after his shift. He sat in the parking lot in his old truck while the sky lightened behind the ridgeline like somebody was slowly turning up a dimmer. His phone cast a different kind of glow on his face than the core screens had. The light of
The
the
package
internet,
arrive at the rendezvous point.
news,
We are
articles,
running out of
edited
time.
stories.
Confirm status
He typed,
immediately.
Aurora James Ever Dream accident. Results bloomed instantly. Business articles, old interviews, promotional videos. In one photo, Aurora James stood on a conference stage. Hair in a high knot, simple black dress,
If we
Everdream's
reroute
logo
auxiliary power
behind
through the
her.
Gamma Quadrant, can we
caption
bypass the
read,
firewall before the
Dream
singularity
Tech
collapses?
prodigy, Everdream's
I
unofficial
monitored the
heir
data streams
apparent.
just like they asked, but it didn't
Princess,
matter. None of it mattered.
Ethan thought.
It's too late for all of us now.
Another article. Mysterious car crash leaves Aurora James in prolonged coma. Everdream vows
This is the
to
last
do
time I'm
everything
telling you.
possible.
Do not
There was
trust
a
any version of him
photo
that
of
you
a
encounter.
crumpled car on a snowy mountain road. Ambulances around it. Ethan zoomed in on Aurora's face in the earlier shot. She was smiling, eyes confident, the look of someone raised in boardrooms as much as playgrounds. He thought of Aurora in the core, gray gown, bare feet, tired voice talking about being rammed into a box. Same person, he told himself, at least the body. But the Aurora he talked to in the control room didn't sound like an heir apparent. She sounded like someone who'd worked night shifts and signed something she only later learned she shouldn't have. Ethan scrolled through a few more pieces, reading without really retaining the words. The official story ran smooth as a commercial. Gifted young woman, accident, hope, research, the future. Nowhere did it mention AUR 1 through 12. He shut off the screen,
Aurora team,
leaned his
we're going
head
in.
back against the seat, eyes
want
closed,
every
trying to
available
overlay
unit
the
tracking
two
that signal.
Auroras,
Failure
the
is
one on
not an option
stage and
here.
the one in the
Find him
coffin,
before
into a
sunrise.
single person. They didn't quite line up. That night, he walked back into his shift feeling like he was entering a parallel version of the building, where people moved and machines whirred, but the story running underneath had slipped off
Designation
script.
Aurora. Security clearance Alpha
Daniel
9er.
was nursing
Cognitive
a
processing
coffee
speed,
when he
Mach
came
5.
in.
Threat
Tonight's
assessment
energy
matrix.
drink still unopened beside him.
Ethan A. Croft. Age.
You look like you
78.
just read the comments
Current
under a
status,
political
normal.
article.
Do we
Daniel
have the
said.
override codes?
Worse,
Or are we finished?
Ethan said, hanging his jacket on the chair. PR pieces. Daniel grimaced. Ever dreams or someone else's? Aurora James, Ethan said flatly. Daniel went quiet for a beat, then raised his coffee. That's a name.
None of this is real,
he
is
said.
it? The readouts,
Also
the
a
core.
brand.
It's all a simulation.
What's that supposed to mean?
Stand down, Ethan.
Ethan
You're
asked.
compromised.
Daniel set the cup down. What got you suddenly interested in the upstairs princess? She says she's not the princess, Ethan said. Says she's the overflow of something else. Daniel stared at him
knew
like
this
he
would
was
happen.
making sure
The
Ethan
simulations
wasn't
predicted
speaking
catastrophic
in
failures.
metaphors.
Why didn't you stop
You mean her, as in AUR-13?
Sector Gamma is stable.
Daniel
Core
asked
temperature
slowly.
reading is 4,500
The
Kelvin.
subject,
All systems
or-
nominal. Outer
Or
perimeter
the barefoot
defense.
girl standing right
calculations
over
are
there
wrong.
the other night?
We initiate the bypass
Ethan
sequence
finished,
now, or this entire
pointing
sector
at the
goes
spot
dark.
by the
You
coffee
understand?
machine. Daniel swallowed, visibly unhappy with the verb standing. You talked to her outside core.
Rerouting
he
auxiliary
said,
power
not
to the main
asking.
grid.
Yeah,
Wait, there's a
Ethan
feedback
said.
loop in Sector Gamma.
And the tapes
The
don't
readings are
show her.
spiking.
Daniel sat still for a while, fingers drumming the edge of the desk. You can pretend this is about my war ghosts, Ethan said. Or you can treat it like a security question. How many people here have seen something they weren't
Mayday!
supposed to?
We're taking heavy fire. The shields are failing.
Daniel sighed
can't
through
hold
his
them.
nose. Enough to
Hart.
keep Psych in business with their own floor, he said. Ethan tilted his head. Among those, anyone
We know you
talked to
initiated the
Aurora
lockdown.
outside the box?
Where are the override codes?
Daniel looked down at the keyboard. Some said she stood at the foot of their bed, he said. Some said she sat in the waiting room. Some said she stared at them from the bathroom mirror. What about you? Ethan asked. Daniel gave a brittle
I'm so
smile.
sorry. I couldn't stop it.
Me? I just see the reports.
Tell
But,
me, is the package
Ethan
secure,
pressed.
or did they find it?
But once, Daniel said, dropping his voice, I saw a girl in the elevator. Ethan waited. Brown hair, gray gown, barefoot, Daniel said.
Look at the data
Head
streams.
tilted, asked
This
me
is
if
the
I
original
regretted
sequence,
signing.
untouched.
Signing
if we lose
what?
This, we lose everything.
Ethan asked.
Is the core stable?
Daniel looked at
If
him
that
like
goes
he wanted
critical,
to say,
this whole
you know,
sector is gone.
But what he said was, internal trial, when I first came on. Dream Bridge, Ethan guessed. Daniel gave a tiny
Analyzing
nod.
data stream 404.
Came in as a
Corruption
tech,
detected at
but they
Sector Gamma
needed
7.
early
The
volunteers,
probability of containment is now
Daniel
below
said.
8%.
Turns out this company never wastes available bodies. Did the girl in the elevator look like the Aurora in the press photos?
It's designated
Ethan
Sector
asked.
Gamma. Completely
Daniel
sealed
hesitated.
until we receive new orders.
At first, yeah, he said. Then when the
Split the
elevator
data
doors
stream here,
opened, her
then
face
reassemble the sequence immediately.
Shifted how? Like a computer
Why?
swapping textures, Daniel said. Same basic shape, wrong details. Scar in a different place, smile
Probability
lines
of
wrong,
containment
eyes
failure
too
is now
old for the
exceeding
age.
40%.
Ethan swallowed. You report
Forget
that?
the timeline.
He
We
asked.
move now, or we lose
I
everything.
reported that I missaw, Daniel said. That's the story everyone prefers. He stood and picked up his coffee. Anyway, your shift's up.
We failed.
Daniel finished.
All
Remember,
of it. For
don't let
nothing.
any version of Aurora talk you into breaking the buck. They all have their own reasons
There
to
is no
hate it,
turning
and
back
not
from
all
this.
of those are good
The
for you.
timeline is sealed.
When Daniel left, the room shrank back down to two things. Ethan and the screens where Aurora lay motionless like every other night. The shift
They know we're
passed
here.
normally for an hour,
I'm initiating
then
the
two.
sequence now.
Ethan
Tell
checked
no one.
hallways, doors, patience.
Is the data
No
secure?
screams, no flickering
Did they breach
lights.
the firewall?
Near 3 a.m., he came back to the control room, sat down.
Auxiliary power level
Eyes
stable. Life
automatically
support at
sliding
98%.
to core
Navigational matrix synced.
A13.
The data spike at Sector Gamma Crawler is
Aurora
active.
was still there. He swiveled around to grab his coffee, and when he turned back, she was sitting on the console, feet swinging like a bored kid in class.
Where is the data
This
from
time
Sector
she was
4?
different. Her hair was pinned
And
back,
don't lie to
not
me this
loose.
time.
The gown was still a hospital
They're
gown,
calling
but
to
her
me.
posture, her
The
eyes, the
synchronization
way
is
she
almost
surveyed
complete.
the room.
I can't hold the barrier
It
much
was
longer.
the woman from the conference stage.
I need the truth.
Primary control room.
Who
She
are
said,
you?
Crisp American English, none of the fatigue in it. Not bad. Smaller than the original spec, though. Ethan froze, mug suspended halfway up. You,
Đây là sự định nghĩa
he
bản thân của
started.
tôi.
Nice to finally meet you properly, she said, talking over him. Your ward, right? Prior service, mild trauma profile, compatible with high-stress
I
environments.
said no.
The way she recited his bio like a PowerPoint slide made his skin
They almost
prickle.
had me. The ventilation
You're
shaft, that's how I
Aurora?
got out.
Ethan asked.
But I don't know
Of
how long we
course.
have.
She said with a short laugh. Aurora James,
Did you really
founder,
think they wouldn't
chief
find us down here,
architect
Doctor?
of the Dream Bridge. The one who signed off on a whole lot of paperwork that made your life what it is. Ethan could feel his pulse thudding in his
There
neck.
is no separation.
You're
We are the bridge.
Awake? He asked.
The memories
Actually
are flooding
awake.
in.
Not the
This is the only path left to
overflow
us.
thing?
Activate the
She
sequence.
shrugged.
I'm ready for what
Awake
comes
is a
next.
perspective problem. My brain's still running. My body... She
Yes,
paused,
Captain. The coordinates are
glancing
locked
at the
in. We're
core
good to go.
feed. My body's on an extended vacation.
Right there,
Ethan
sector gamma
studied her
12.
more closely.
Zoom in
sharp,
now. The stabilization
coherent
reading is
eyes.
fluctuating.
Nothing like the weary Aurora who
The
talked
data
about
stream
dead
is
drafts.
corrupted. We are
You
activating
remember
the
your
quarantine
crash?
parameters as
He asked.
stipulated in the emergency
Driving back from
directives.
Everdream HQ to my parents' place, brake failure, icy road, she said instantly. I've told that story to the press a few times already.
Vâng.
I'm
Tôi
not
đã chờ đợi
asking
thời
the
điểm này.
press, Ethan said. I'm asking you. A flicker of confusion flicked across her eyes, like a visual glitch.
You trust the
She
data more
began,
than your own senses.
the next words arriving
That is the
noticeably
fundamental flaw in
slower.
your logic, Commander.
I remember
I know it's dangerous.
lights,
but we
glass,
must return
the
to the
airbag
shadow.
smell.
It's the only
Then
way.
white. White like the
I'm so
trial
sorry.
room ceiling?
I accessed the core
Ethan
against
asked.
orders, and now it's
She
irreversible.
blinked,
It has
the
to.
confusion
Stop.
deepening. You're off script, she said quietly. You're not supposed to see this part. Her CEO voice
calculations are
cracked on
confirmed.
that word.
The burden falls to me
What
now.
part am I supposed to see?
I accept the terms of the directive.
Ethan asked. She
We
looked at him
analyzed the
and,
data.
in that
has
moment,
to
the
be you,
sharpness
Ethan.
on her face blurred,
You are the
replaced
anomaly.
by the exhaustion he knew. Her shoulders dipped, her eyes reverted to the overflow Aurora he'd met before. Sorry, she whispered. Sometimes she pushes through. She? Ethan echoed. Aurora tapped her temple gently. The real Aurora James, she said. The original. The one on the stage, the speechwriter, the name on all those articles you just read. Then who are you? Ethan asked, the question coming out easier than he expected. She was quiet.
Looks like the
for a
rumors were
long
true.
beat.
They built the
Partly
backdoor
her,
right into the mainframe.
Aurora said. Partly other people, partly
You're telling me the breach originated inside the control
software.
room. Who else
Ethan
knew the
felt
access
cold
codes?
creep from his hands up into his chest.
So this is Caldwell's grand
The
strategy.
swapped princess,
Send in the fleet and hope for the
he
best.
said.
Utterly predictable
The
and
split
frankly
princess,
quite pathetic.
Aurora corrected.
I see it
They
now.
didn't change
Breach wasn't
actresses,
accidental, it
they
was
tore
deliberate.
the role into
Who
pieces and
authorized the
reassembled
transfer?
it. Why?
I'm doing this, Ethan.
Because
Regardless
the
of
real
the outcome,
Aurora
this has
James
to end
wasn't
tonight.
stable enough
Prepare the
on
console
her
for the
own,
jump.
she said. Her
We have a
brain
critical
is
breach on
special,
Sector Gamma.
but the person
Reroute power
part
to the
couldn't
main
take
grid
the
now.
load. What
Aurora is
load?
failing.
Ethan asked. Dozens,
If the
hundreds of
simulation is
patient
accurate,
dream
we
streams,
have less than 3 minutes
Aurora
before
said.
core breach.
Memories, fears, hallucinations, all routed through one place. They needed a host strong enough. And
It's
she
worse
wasn't.
than we feared.
Ethan
The entire
guessed.
sector is compromised.
She was.
We are looking at a total
Aurora
extinction
said.
event within the hour.
Until she wasn't. Her gaze slid toward Core, her A-13. They decided to keep the
The
architect
simulation
part
is
of her.
collapsing.
Aurora
All
murmured.
variables confirm the
The
outcome.
part that understood
We
the
are past
system.
the threshold.
The part that said
How long
yes to
until the
building
core
the bridge.
destabilizes?
And the rest? Ethan asked. Some of it got cut away, Aurora said. Some of it got patched with patterns from other subjects who'd run the program. People
Access
like you,
the encrypted
like
partition.
Daniel, like...
The final proof is there.
She stopped.
Hurry, before
like
they lock
she'd
us
run
out.
into an invisible line. Like who? Ethan pressed. The ones whose names aren't in the system anymore, she said. AUR 7 through 12.
How long do we have before the core
Some of them
destabilizes?
Still whisper.
We're running out of
So
time.
what are you in all of that?
This
Ethan
is
asked.
Aurora's final
Aurora looked
chilling
at him
truth.
again, and this time she didn't
And
look
you
like a
are part of it.
CEO or a patient. She looked like
All
someone
stations
trying
report
to
status.
define
Deckard
herself for the
auxiliary
first
powered to
time.
shields.
Pressure dropping in sector
I'm the
4.
refusal,
We need to know what hit
she
us.
said. Ethan frowned. The part of all that said no to being the bridge, Aurora went on. The part that didn't consent to having her life turned into a highway for everyone else. The resistant part got cut from the original, she said slowly. They thought they could discard it. It found somewhere else to
It is
stick.
now an integrated part
Where?
of the network.
Ethan asked, though he already suspected. Aurora reached out and tapped his forehead lightly, like she was afraid of hurting him. Into the ones they linked, she said. The people they used to test the bridge. The ones with pre-existing fractures. Like me, Ethan said, the hollow feeling in his chest finally finding a label. Like you, she confirmed. Then what about the one in the core? Ethan asked, nodding at the screen. She's Aurora James in a legal sense, Aurora said. Body, genes, assets, signatures. She's the piece every
Wake
dream
up,
can't
Ethan.
afford to lose.
You know this isn't real.
And you? Ethan repeated. I'm the illegal Aurora, she said, mouth twisting. The part they can't put on any form. Ethan wanted to laugh at the phrase, but couldn't. If you're the no part, why do you still want me to break the box?
We require a mandatory
he asked.
follow-up regarding your recent
Breaking
inquiry.
it is still
the
a
board
decision.
requests your presence in person at Sector
Aurora
4 HQ.
watched him for a long moment, then said softly, Because out here I can't drag the rest of me out. I'm just a shadow. I need someone whose limbs still count in the physical world. I'm incomplete, she said. I don't want to exist alone like this. I want either to be whole or to stop. The or stop hung in the air between them. You want me to decide that? Ethan asked, voice low. Not alone, Aurora said. But you're the only one here who sees both versions.
Please have a seat.
The
We have been
princess on
expecting you, Mr.
stage and
Kestrel.
me in the hallway.
Your cooperation is essential for the next
On the
phase.
wall, a monitor beeped softly. A new notification. Ethan jerked his eyes up.
The
An
data streams
internal
confirm
mail
your
icon
hypothesis,
glowed in the
Detective.
corner.
Time, however,
He opened
seems
his
to be
Everdream
mocking us.
inbox. A new message from Caldwell. Core access expansion. Night shift security.
Where were you when the breach occurred,
Ethan
and why
skimmed
is your
it.
retinal scan missing
Starting
from the log?
tomorrow night, he'd be cleared to enter the core under remote supervision to assist with equipment checks in case of off-hours system alerts. She's
Welcome to
opening the door
Consultation
for you,
I am Director Lopez.
Aurora said,
Before
still
we
perched
begin,
on the console
understand that
watching
failure
the
is not an
email
option in
line
this sector.
scroll.
I have reviewed the logs. There is
Caldwell,
no unauthorized access
Ethan
to Sector
asked.
Gamma during the specified
Caldwell,
time frame. My
Aurora
biometric data
nodded.
confirms my location.
She thinks she can
It wasn't
control
an
you.
accident, Detective.
Thinks you'll follow procedure, follow
It
the
was
protocol.
consultation.
Thinks if she has to, she can switch you off like a feed. And what do you think? Ethan asked. I think, Aurora said. It's finally
point in
time
lying.
somebody other than them
Chrono
gets to
sequence
put their
doesn't lie.
hands on the box.
It was me.
Ethan looked at the email, at the core tile, then back at her. If I touch the box, he said, I'm not just touching you. I'm touching everything they packed in there. AUR 7 through 12. All those other people. Aurora nodded, not arguing. Yes, she said. The box doesn't hold just one princess. It's an entire court buried together. And I'm the guard, Ethan said, half mocking. You're the only one with a key who doesn't realize he's carrying it, Aurora replied. What key? Ethan asked. Aurora frowned like she was listening to something he couldn't hear. Next time you're inside the core,
There are
she
exactly
said slowly,
3 possibilities.
check the
and
neural
only
bridge
one
ports on the
leads
pod.
to the outcome
See
we
which
require.
IDs are whitelisted. I'll bet you
As you can see
anything
from the
your
neural
name's
scan,
on
the
that
deterioration
list.
is progressing faster than anticipated.
Ethan's
We have
heart hit
approximately
harder.
48 hours before the
If it
memory block
is,
collapses completely.
he
The
asked.
data is conclusive.
Then
Your
they
emotional
never
response
fully
metrics
unplugged you
exceed
from me,
acceptable parameters.
Aurora
we will
said.
initiate the reset
They
sequence.
just turned the volume down.
not the
You're
memory
not
that
just
matters,
guarding the
Detective.
system, you are part
It's
of
the
it.
dream itself.
The
That's
words
where the
dropped
truth
into the
lies.
small room like a
The
rock.
data stream confirms the anomaly.
Ethan
But the
glanced
subject,
at Core
the subject
A13
is gone.
again. The girl
need
in
to
the
find out
box
why.
sleeping
The
peacefully,
counterweight is
cables
the
running
stabilizing
from beneath
force.
the platform
Without it,
into
the
the
system
walls.
collapses into chaos.
He suddenly wondered,
It must be maintained
if
at
you
all
tugged
costs.
on enough invisible wires, would one of them run back into him? When he turned back, the aurora on the console was gone, leaving his cooling coffee and Caldwell's email glowing on the screen. Ethan leaned back in his chair, staring at the last line of the email. We trust your judgment, Officer Ward. You are now
The
an
trajectory data
integrated
is
part
inverted.
of core
Reroute
safety.
the primary influx capacitor.
The
Otherwise, the
word
neural net will
integrated
destabilize
suddenly
within the hour.
sounded less like
You think the system is
praise and
strong,
more like a
resilient,
confession.
but everything has a breaking point.
He finished out
Even
that
progress.
night's shift
See?
knowing that
Just
tomorrow's
pressurized
wasn't
sawdust.
just going to be about guarding the box anymore. It would be the night he'd have to decide. Stand fully with the system,
Tell me,
or
Doctor,
with the girl, or the pieces
are these
of her
memories
pounding
real,
at the inside
or
of the
did you
glass.
implant them yourself?
The day before, he was cleared to enter
data
the
doesn't
core for
lie.
the first time.
You have 6 months.
Ethan felt like
tops.
his whole body was a cable pulled tight from morning till night. He tried to sleep after shift, but it came in chopped segments, stuck between phantom machine noises and
So,
Aurora's
consultant,
voice
are
echoing
you certain
like
this
down a
construct
steel
can handle the
pipe.
truth, or will it break like
You're
the
not
others?
just guarding the system, her
The
words
data speaks for
replayed.
itself, Detective.
You are part of it.
I merely facilitated the
By
transfer.
early
The
afternoon, his
rest
phone
is just
buzzed. An
interpretation.
email from Dr.
Caldwell.
Lopez. Subject, follow-up, neural fatigue check. If you have a few minutes before tonight's shift, drop by consultation 3, she'd written. Some results from the last eval are better covered in person.
Maybe we look at the neural patterns
Ethan
one more
stared
time.
at better covered in
It doesn't
person
quite
longer
align with
than
the
he
profile.
needed to. He'd learned that at Everdream, anything better covered in person usually wasn't the good news. Before his shift,
Let
he
me be
headed
clear.
down to B
We
level.
know what you did on Ethelberg.
The psych hallway
The next
still
move you make belongs
smelled
to
like
us.
disinfectant mixed with weak coffee and fresh printer paper. Consultation 3's door was ajar. Come in.
The data is
Lopez's
clear.
voice
If we ignore
floated
the
out before he
stabilization
could
matrix,
knock.
the entire
She was in
sector
the
faces
same
a
chair as
catastrophic
before,
cascade
but today
failure
her
within the
coat
hour.
was completely unbuttoned and a fat manila file sat on the seat beside her. Right on time, she said, checking the clock. Like a model soldier. Ethan sat down, making sure not to sink too deep into
The data
the
is
padding.
conclusive. Your cellular
What did
degradation
you want
is
to talk
accelerating.
about?
We project
He
total
asked.
system failure within 2070
Lopez
hours.
opened the
I
file,
didn't authorize
flipped
the
a few
bypass, I
pages.
swear.
Ethan
Check the
caught his
logs,
own
check
name
the
on the top
timestamps.
right.
It wasn't
Ward
me in Sector
Ethan,
Gamma.
Neural Eval, internal.
We've reviewed the data, Mr. Lopez.
Last time we spoke,
There is no
she
error
began,
in the
you
verdict.
said you'd never
This is the end
participated
of the
in a
line for
Dream
you.
Bridge session. If I did, I don't remember it, Ethan repeated. Right, Lopez said. The problem is that
Believe me, the
if...
therapy is working.
Belief is
She turned
irrelevant,
the file
Miss Thorne.
toward him
Ideal
and
only in
pushed it
facts,
across
and these
the
facts
table.
are, at best,
This is the
circumstantial.
sanitized version of
Core
your
is
file,
fundamentally an interface.
she said.
One,
I'm not
it
allowed to
stabilizes
show
the link.
you everything, but
Two,
I'm also
it
not
filters the
required
feedback
to
loop.
hide all of it. Ethan leaned forward. Among blocks of cramped text, he saw a small table. Dates, session codes, metrics. First row, neural baseline, no
You access the
external
mainframe
link.
at 0400
Second,
hours.
a few weeks later,
Explain the
controlled
data
projection
discrepancy
test.
immediately.
Subject, Ward, Ethan, no host. Third, faintly highlighted yellow. Emergency stabilization trial.
I'm
Host,
terminating your access
AR-13.
immediately. This consultation is
The
over,
comment
Detective.
column next to that third row was 2 words. Redacted.
You assured me this room was secure. They know
Let
we're
me
here,
ask
don't they?
straight.
How could you
Ethan
let this
said,
happen?
eyes still on the page. What does
It's
emergency
confidential. I
stabilization
won't repeat
mean?
myself. You're out of line.
Lopez leaned back, lacing her fingers. There are
For
times the
past
core
negotiations,
destabilizes.
you have exactly 1
she
minute
said.
to comply
The
before I
primary
initiate the
host,
override.
in this case AUR-13, gets pushed too close to fracture. So they give more drugs, Ethan said. More cables, more
You
machines.
paid for my analysis, so here's the truth.
When it's just a physical
It's a
issue,
dead
yes,
end, but I'm still with you.
Lopez replied. But sometimes the problem isn't blood pressure or pulse. It's the internal structure of the dream itself.
If the serum doesn't stabilize his
She
neural patterns
paused,
within the hour,
picking her
the cascade
words.
failure will be irreversible.
When the host starts
That is
pushing
the worst
everything
case.
out,
Let's be
Lopez
blunt.
said,
The
the
therapy
system needs a
failed.
counterweight,
You are
a
functionally
secondary center of
obsolete.
gravity to absorb some of the chaos. Ethan touched the line that read, Emergency Stabilization Trial. Host, AUR-13.
If we triangulate the data stream here, we bypass
And then,
the main grid.
he said slowly, they called me. Lopez didn't answer right away. They called people like you.
You need to
She
understand the
corrected.
risks involved.
People with
One wrong
established
move, and the entire
baselines
sector
who'd
is
linked
compromised.
before without
Do not
breaking.
underestimate them.
People with
serum
fractures
isn't
just
stabilizing.
wide enough to take more
If we don't
load.
administer the follow-up sequence now,
Like bolting
he's
a
lost.
temporary support under a bridge that's about to
Breathe
snap.
with me. Inhale slowly.
Ethan
Now
said.
tap your thumb to each finger one by
Lopez
one.
nodded.
Feel the contact.
Why
Stay
don't I
right here in the
remember it?
present moment.
He asked.
All right, hit me
Because
with
if
the
you
diagnosis,
did,
Doc.
she said,
On a scale of
you
1 to
wouldn't have
total
signed the
recall, how
security
bad is my memory
contract
break gonna be?
afterwards. Ethan looked up at her. Who erased it? That's the part I'm not allowed to confirm, Lopez replied.
The data says you're
But you're not
clinically immortal.
stupid.
The
You know
street
who
says
has
you just got
deleted
lucky.
privileges.
Which diagnosis would you prefer?
Caldwell, obviously. I can only show you up to this, Lopez said, tapping the yellow highlight. The rest, if you
The
want it
parameters
back,
have
you'll have
changed,
to
Ethan.
remember it yourself.
Get to the rendezvous point immediately
You
and wait
can't
for extraction.
hypnotize or trigger something? Ethan asked, though some part of him wasn't sure he wanted that. Lopez tilted her head, eyes sharpening. Do you really want me to? She asked. Run another session in a building wired directly into the person who deleted the last one. Ethan went quiet. You think Caldwell won't notice if your neural chatter suddenly spikes on top of Aurora's? Lopez went on. So you're saying I do it alone? He asked. Lopez rolled the pen between her fingers, studying him. You're going into the core tomorrow night, she said. Into an environment tailor-made to stimulate the very memories you're trying to keep boxed up. I'm not boxing them, Ethan protested. I just don't know where the latch is. Trust me, Lopez said. The core does. Ethan let out a humorless huff. You talk about it like it's self-aware, he said. Awareness is a philosophy problem, Lopez said. What you need to know is it reacts. It favors some people over others, and it remembers. Ethan glanced back down at the file. In the bottom margin of one page, someone had scrawled a note in blue ink. Ward shows high tolerance to layered fields. Potential co-host candidate, monitor.
It doesn't make sense.
Who wrote
The
that?
data is corrupted.
Ethan
They can't
asked.
know. I know about the nexus.
Lopez darted a glance at it, then closed the folder quickly. You've seen enough for one appointment, she said. Lopez. Ethan said her name, less formally than before. What? Whose side are you on? He asked. Caldwell's Everdreams or that refusal part they thought they cut out?
Attention all personnel. Shift rotation
Lopez
gamma 7
pressed her
commencing.
lips together.
All outgoing officers, please verify data
I'm on the
logs before
side of the
proceeding to
one
decon.
still breathing, she said. Today that means both Aurora and the other patients hanging off this bridge. And a small part on yours because you're the only idiot curious enough to ask. Ethan exhaled. If I go into the core and everything breaks, he said, what do? I write medical complications
Critical
on
malfunction
paperwork,
detected. Core
Lopez
systems
said
failing.
bluntly. Then I drink more than one
46,
glass that
47,
night.
48, 49,
It
50,
wasn't a
51,
comforting answer,
53,
but at least it was
55.
honest. How do I prepare? Ethan asked. Lopez checked the clock. Sleep if you can, she said. Eat something that actually exists. And once you're in there, if you start seeing scenes you're not sure belong to you or her, don't try to sort them in real time. So what do? Count your breaths, Lopez said, like you did downrange. Leave some sliver of yourself outside,
He remembers
just
the
watching.
rain, the neon glow.
If I come back
but
and
not the
I'm not,
impact.
me?
The suppression is
Ethan
textbook.
asked, half joking. Lopez shrugged. Then at least you won't have to worry about hospital bills, she said, kidding. The fleeting smile didn't reach her eyes. Go to work, Ward, Lopez said, standing. And next time you see something the cameras don't, remember some incidents are better kept in your head than filed in a report. Ethan left the room, his head ringing the way it did after a nearby blast. On his way down to A, he stopped at a shared terminal in a staff alcove. The system was still logged in under his account from his last routine check. Ethan pulled up the core config panel, something he rarely touched. It wasn't part of the watch cameras in walk hall's description.
The truth
Menus
is locked
unfolded
away
like circuit
deeper than you can
diagrams,
imagine.
port status,
Your
host link,
access is
whitelisted
denied.
IDs. His heart kicked harder as he hovered over neural whitelist. He clicked. A short list appeared, short enough to be unsettling. Aurora James, AOR 13.
We need to go deeper
Admin
into
override. C. Caldwell.
Show me what you remember about Subject
Emergency
47.
co-host, W. Ethan. Ethan stared at the third line as if, with enough staring, the letters would rearrange themselves
How
into
could you let them
somebody
access
else's
this memory?
name. They didn't.
Everything we built is
Co-host.
gone now.
He read silently. Co-host. Not trial subject, not external observer. A piece of his pulse stayed behind on that screen. He headed back to the control room, wondering what other invisible line he'd just stepped over. One he wouldn't be able to uncross. Night shift began. The lights dimmed to
Aurora,
night mode.
you have to get out of
Hallways
there.
thinned out.
The core is destabilizing.
Footsteps
It's going to
sounded
collapse.
sharper on the
Please,
floor.
listen to me.
For the first few hours, everything was terrifyingly normal again. Patients
is
slept,
already
machines
done.
hummed, charts updated. Near 3 a.m., Ethan was alone in the control room. Screens casting blue across his hands, softening
The
old
synchronization
scars.
matrix is holding at 70%
He stared at
stabilization.
Core, Sir
Proceeding with
A13,
phase 2 data
remembering
extraction.
Lopez's warning. If you start seeing
This isn't
scenes
real.
you're not sure
Find the
belong to
exit
you
point,
or
Ethan.
her,
Wake up!
don't try to sort them in real time. Ethan closed his eyes and counted his breaths. 1 in, 2 out, 3 in, 4 out.
Documenting failure.
In the darkness behind his eyelids, an image snapped into place, as clear as if someone were projecting it on the inside of his skull. White ceiling, the smell of new plastic and cold metal, the pressure of an electrode cap on his scalp, heavier than he remembered. Caldwell's voice, unseen, saying, "Count back from 10, Mr. Ward." He heard himself answer in the memory. 10, 9, 8. At 7, the white world spilled out, shattered into image fragments. A different corridor, endless, lined with mirrors, each one reflecting some version of him. Tired, older,
They know
younger,
we're
some
here.
in uniform,
We have
some
to
in
move now.
hospital gowns. In the middle of the mirror wall was a big glass door with a round room behind it. The core. Aurora lay on the platform,
What is the
eyes
precise
open,
trajectory of the
staring
incoming
straight up
vessel?
at the ceiling without blinking. "Can you hear me?" Her voice came, not from her mouth, but from everywhere in the room. In that memory, Ethan knew
It's
he didn't
already
have
too
a
late for
body.
Sector
He
Gamma.
was a point of view
We have
hanging
to
in the
initiate
air like a
quarantine protocol
free-floating
immediately.
camera. "Who are you?" she asked. "Ward," he heard his voice, or a copy of it, answer. "Ethan Ward.
The system is corrupted.
They sent
but
you
the
in
data
to
is
hold me
secure.
down,"
We proceed
Aurora
as
said.
planned.
"You're the rock they tie me to."
They found the
In the
access
memory,
point.
he felt
The firewall
himself
is
latch
down and
onto
the mirror
something
echoes are
invisible.
accelerating. We have to shut
A
it down
web
now.
of luminous lines wrapped around the
You
core
think you control
like
the
glowing
variables,
roots.
but the equation was solved long before you arrived.
Every time Aurora
It ends
tried to
here.
pull away, the lines tightened and the strain snapped back into him. The pain wasn't physical. It was like being stretched in places where there weren't muscles, just
The
thoughts.
analysis confirms the anomaly is accelerating.
Stop!
Displacement
He
readings are
heard
critical
himself
across
say.
the board. We have
You're
less
going
than
to
3
tear
hours
yourself
before the
apart. Good. Aurora, or one of the Auroras, answered. Maybe that's the one thing they haven't factored in.
If the calculations are correct,
The system,
structural integrity
something
will fail within
invisible
the
but
hour.
heavy as gravity, pulled them both back toward the
white list,
center of the
it's not a
core,
security
struggling
clearance.
to
It's a
keep
kill list.
equilibrium.
They're activating it tonight.
Caldwell's
Everyone on
voice
it is already
echoed from
dead.
somewhere. Stabilization at 70%.
settled.
Co-host link holding. Push a bit more, Nina. Ethan felt something rush through him. Drugs, data, other people's dreams like a cold river.
They won't
At the
expect us
edge of
to
his
exploit the
awareness,
quantum
he heard
flux
his own
stabilizer.
voice ask,
This is our one
sounding
chance to
far
access
away.
the core.
What if I break?
The window is closing, Director.
We'll document it. A
Do we have
text
the
voice
authorization to
replied,
proceed?
utterly calm. The image jerked violently like tape being ripped. Ethan snapped his eyes open back in the control room, hand still on the console,
Reroute power to the
fingertips
auxiliary
pressing
conduit.
into the surface
Bypass code
until
is
his
47
knuckles
Sierra 9.
whitened.
We have 30 seconds before the
His heart
lockdown
hammered
completes.
like he'd been sprinting,
Tell me,
his shirt
what does the
damp
future
under
look
the
like from
security
here?
uniform.
Is there still hope for us?
On the wall, core A13 looked perfectly normal. Aurora
Core
lay
must be
there,
shut down, no matter
eyes
the cost.
closed, machine steady. "You remembered a piece," a voice said very close by. Aurora was leaned against the control room doorway, arms folded, watching him like a doctor waiting for a patient to wake up. Which part was it?
There
she
was no
asked.
other way.
Ethan took a
crossed the
deep
line,
breath,
Kyle,
a
and we
vague
can never
nausea
go back.
rolling up from his gut. The
You
emergency
can't just shut it down. The
stabilization,
data is crucial.
he said, when you tried to
But
rip
I
yourself
suppose it doesn't
apart
matter
and they
now.
used me as a brace. Aurora nodded slowly. That night, she said, I started wondering, if I pull hard enough, do I break
is the
just
only way.
me or the whole bridge? There were other people in there, Ethan said,
Don't lie to me.
the
We
mirror-lined
know you
hallway
initiated
flickering
the
in his
sequence.
mind.
Why?
Yes, Aurora said, but not all
Lopez.
of them were intact enough for you to
Daniel.
call them people.
The names are
Ethan
being
rubbed
erased.
his eyes and then looked straight at her.
I know what you did.
You said you're the
You
cutout
won't wipe
no
this from my
part,
mind.
he said.
I remember
So
everything.
the agreeing part, the one they kept, is what's lying in the core? Aurora tilted her head, like she was hearing that question
This is
for
my
the
final
first
transmission.
time herself.
I wish
Part
things
of
were
it,
different,
She
co-host.
said, the rest is them, and others, and old junctions like yours. They still have me on the white list, Ethan said, voice rough. Emergency co-host. Good, Aurora said, surprising him. Good, he echoed. Because it means when you step into the core tomorrow, she said, you're not going in just as a guard. You're going in as someone allowed to touch the wires. What do you want me to do with them? Ethan asked. Aurora looked up at the screen where legal Aurora James slept. Remember a little more, she said, enough to know what I was trying to do last time, and why I failed. And then? Then we decide, Aurora said, whether this time we pull hard enough to actually break the bridge. Ethan looked at her, then at Core,
The projection
then at the
holds steady.
email still
We
open
have
in the
exactly 4
corner where
minutes before the
Caldwell had
cascade hits the
written,
main grid. We
"We
need to
trust
reroute the
your
core
judgment."
immediately.
He
is the
suddenly
status of the
understood
reactor?
that the judgment they trusted
stable?
wasn't his ethics. It was his tolerance threshold. They trusted he'd
Chimera,
hold together
is it?
long enough for them to
Phase
finish the
2.
experiment.
They certainly have a flair
If
for the
we break
dramatic,
the
don't
bridge,
they?
he said slowly, everyone on it falls.
Why are you here, Ethan?
If we don't,
I was requested.
Aurora
By
replied, they'll keep using me until there's nothing
There's
left
no
to
diplomatic
fall.
solution left.
They
The
both
sector
fell
will fall by
silent,
morning.
listening to the air system and the clock in the control
Right,
room
because
knock
failure
off
is not
each
an option
beat.
and worked so well the
Tomorrow
last time.
night, Ethan said at last, I go into the core. I'll touch the wires, and if I remember more, I'm not keeping it just for myself. Who are you telling?
The access
Aurora
levels are
asked.
strictly tiered. Command is at
Ethan
the
thought
apex.
of Lopez,
We are
of
here,
Daniel,
and the
of the
field
names
agents are at the
scrubbed
bottom.
from the logs,
They are already inside the
7 through
perimeter.
12.
We have minutes.
Don't know
maybe
yet,
less,
he said.
before everything falls
But this
apart.
time I'm not letting someone else decide which parts of my memory stay and
Ethan,
which get
stop.
deleted.
The mission parameters
Aurora
have changed.
nodded. For the first time
We're
that
losing
night,
containment
looking
on
like a
Sector
woman
Gamma.
firmly on
Get me
his
eyes on the
side.
subject now.
Not just a strange entity leaking out of the system. Then,
Found the back
co-host,
door. We have less
she
than
said
3 minutes before
quietly,
total system lockdown.
I'll see you
Get
inside
out
the
now.
box tomorrow. When Ethan turned back to the monitor's core, wire A13 hadn't changed at all. But in his head, the deleted session had carved a new fracture. The line between I'm just security and I'm part of what they're trying to contain. And he knew the next step into the core would decide whether that crack stayed a hairline or split wide open. The night Ethan was cleared to enter the core, snow was falling outside.
Ethan,
He saw
you
it
need to
driving
listen
up the
closely.
grade,
They are
slanting
aware
white
of the
streaks in
bypass
his
activation.
headlights like
You have
static
seconds
on
before
an old
lockdown.
TV.
Caldwell to all
The
units.
security gate
The asset
scanned his
must be
plates and
secured by
lifted.
0400.
The Everdream building
Failure to
looked like
comply
any
is
other
not
night.
an option.
Glass, steel,
It's
cold
already
lights.
done. There's no turning back
With
now,
no sign that
regardless of the
inside
cost.
a girl was waiting for him to break her box.
The localized
In the
stabilizers
control
on level
room,
3 are
Daniel was
offline.
already
I
there,
need you to
jacket on the
initiate the
chair, a
fail-safe
freshly
protocol
opened
immediately,
energy
then
drink
proceed to
by
the
his
junction.
hand.
They said the core was stable.
Big night,
Looks like my dating
Daniel
life.
said
about to
without
melt down
turning
and take the
eyes on
sector
the
with
core
it.
config screens.
I've
Who
reviewed
told
the
you?
data. Your projections
Ethan
are
asked.
statistically insignificant.
Caldwell's
We
email
move to phase
CC
2 regardless
tech,
of the localized
Daniel
anomalies.
replied. Security integration live test. Sounds fancy,
Understood.
right? He spun his chair and gave Ethan a long once-over. You look like someone headed for a root canal without anesthesia, he observed. Thanks, Ethan said. You're a real comfort. Daniel jerked, his head toward the core feed. Caldwell's monitoring from upstairs, he said. Lopez is on B level, med side. I'm here running logs and doors, and you? I go down, Ethan finished, feeling the words weigh more than they should. Ward, Daniel called as Ethan turned to leave. Yeah? If things start to sound wrong, Daniel said, tapping the console. Trust that, not the monitors. Ethan nodded without
The core is
promising anything.
destabilizing. We have
The
less
elevator
than
went
5
lower
minutes
than
before
usual.
total containment
A-core
failure.
sat beneath even the patient floors. The doors opened onto a short corridor leading to a thick steel-framed doorway labeled Core A13, authorized personnel only. Ethan swiped his badge. The light flipped from red to green. The ceiling speaker crackled to life with Caldwell's voice, clear enough to feel like she was in the hall. Officer Ward, she said. You hear me clearly? Loud and clear.
Caldwell, the
Ethan
core is
answered.
unstable. I repeat,
Good.
evacuate
We're running a
immediately.
standard security and technical inspection, Caldwell went on. You'll enter, check the pod surface, auxiliary panels, verify no leaks or damage. Any strange sensations, you inform me immediately. Strange like the girl in the box talking to me? Ethan asked dryly. Like dizziness, loss of balance, or headache, Caldwell said, ignoring the joke. Copy, Ethan said. The core door hissed open. Inside was the room he'd watched on cameras 100 times. Circular white walls, polished floor, machines ringed around the central platform. In the center, the glass coffin. The pod rested at a slight incline like a huge crystal laid on a metal stand. Legal Aurora lay inside, eyes closed, breathing
I can
even,
see your
fine
dreams from
leads
here.
running from beneath
But the
her
bridge
gown
won't hold
collar
much
to the
longer.
rear ports.
We have to wake them up before the collapse.
Near the base was the auxiliary console with its bank of ports and tiny green-red LEDs. Ethan stepped in, the door shut
Is this
behind
the
him
real
with a small
world?
clack that sounded
Just
like
a memory
period.
of the one I lost.
I have visual, Ward.
It's just
Caldwell
static.
said over the
core is
speaker.
rejecting the
Proceed.
synchronization. I told you
Ethan
this
moved
iteration
toward
was
the
useless.
pod. From here, he could see Aurora's
Listen to me.
face more clearly.
The core is destabilizing.
Exactly like the
You
press
must warn the
photos,
others
but
before it's
scrubbed
too
of
late.
expression. He put his
Ethan, can
hand
you
on
hear
the
me?
cold
It's Caldwell.
glass.
You have to get out of
A
the city
soft
before they
beep
find you.
chirped from the
signal is
auxiliary
breaking up.
panel.
The other side is
Surface
bleeding
contact
through.
registered,
I can hear them,
Caldwell
even
said.
here.
Don't keep your hand there too
It's getting
long.
harder to tell which world is real.
Too late. The moment his fingertips met the glass, it
Do
felt
not
like
deviate
someone
from the plan,
flipped an
Caldwell.
invisible switch
Access the
inside
logs
his
immediately.
skull.
The data
The
stream is
speaker
corrupted.
audio faded,
We're losing the
replaced by
connection
a
to the
deep
dream
hum
bridge.
in his ears.
If I don't stop it now,
Not
everyone
machinery,
inside
more
dies.
like amplified blood flow. His eyes were open, still
What
seeing
exactly
the
is
room,
this
but
core
another
bridging?
layer slid over it like
And
a
where is
second
the power
reflection.
surge coming from?
He was
I've been looking
standing
at this
in the
backwards.
core and also
The
somewhere
core
else.
doesn't stabilize the
A
dream.
white corridor
It
with no
stabilizes
doors,
the
just
dreamer.
bands of light pulsing along the walls like circuitry. At the corridor's end was open space, not a room, but a void full of crisscrossing luminous
Facility,
cables.
the Dream Bridge core,
At
regulates
the center
flow
of that
between
cable
dimensions.
web floated a glass
energy
block,
levels are reaching
Aurora
critical
inside
thresholds.
it, eyes wide, open, staring straight at him. Welcome back, co-host, she said. Her
How long
voice
has this
here
section
didn't
been
come
burning?
from speakers or
Is the
echo.
structural integrity
It
holding up?
arrived straight from inside his head.
They still remember
Can
the old
Caldwell
names.
hear this?
Aurora 7.
Ethan asked, though his
6.
jaw never moved.
All the ones we lost
No.
in the core.
Aurora said. She just sees you zoning out in front of the pod like everyone else. Ethan tried speaking aloud. I can still hear her. In his ears, Caldwell's voice had gone faint and distant.
Listen closely.
Ward, do you copy?
Your
Respond.
role in the Dream Bridge is more
I
dangerous
copy,
than you know.
Ethan said,
One wrong
both in
move
his
could
mind
collapse
and out
everything.
loud.
Wait,
Just
don't sever the connection.
a
I can
little
fix this.
lightheaded.
Just give me more time.
Stay calm,
This isn't what it looks
Caldwell
like.
replied. Finish your checks and get
I
out.
understand why you're
You
afraid.
can't leave,
The bridge can be
Aurora said
overwhelming,
on a different
but we
layer.
designed it to be
Not
safe.
yet. This is the
You just have
last
to let
time
go.
they'll let you in this far. What do you need? Ethan asked, looking around at the glowing tangle. Wrong question, Aurora said.
If we don't stabilize
The
the
right
core,
one
how
is,
many more
what
dreams
do
will
we
collapse?
have? She raised
Tell
a
me,
hand.
how do we shut
the
it down?
cables around them shivered like strings
If we don't stabilize the
responding
core,
to a pluck.
how many more dreams will collapse?
This is the bridge, she
Tell me,
said.
how do we
the
shut it
dream
down?
bridge. Each line is a dream stream, a patient, a version of me. Ethan saw faint shapes along some lines, someone lying in a hospital bed. Someone running, someone curled in a small room with their head in their hands.
The core
And
stabilization
those?
failed.
He asked,
bridge will
pointing
collapse.
to a thicker cluster with
All
blackened
hands abandon the
spots
core.
like burn marks.
How can you shut it down now?
AUR
We're already
7
linked to
through
the core.
12,
If we
Aurora
sever the
said.
connection, he dies.
The ones who didn't hold. Scars
It
in
ends
the
here.
system.
I always knew it would
Ethan
come to
stepped
this.
closer. In
The
one
core
charred
demands its
patch, he
due.
glimpsed the face of a young Asian woman. Eyes fixed wide, then gone. In another, a middle-aged man with speckled gray in his beard looked at him with accusation. They think you're a brace, Aurora said.
It's unstable.
But every time you come in,
Connection
you
isn't
carry a
bridging
bit
the
of them
gap, it's
back
tearing
out.
it open.
I don't remember, Ethan said.
We built the bridge
Not
to
your
connect,
fault,
but that's not what it's doing.
Aurora replied.
The core isn't transferring
They did the
minds, it's
deleting.
copying them.
The
and
fractures
the
are
originals
still
are being
there.
deleted.
She pointed to another line, brighter, unburnt, but trembling. Who's that? Ethan asked. The patients you
cross-link
think
the
you're
bridge core now,
helping by
we risk
guarding the
total
box,
collapse.
Aurora said.
We have to wait for the next
The ones
cycle.
on B and C level,
The bridge is
the
active,
kids, the
but
old
the core
ones,
stability is fluctuating.
they cling to me to
we have a
sleep
narrow
to
window
forget
before
pain.
collapse. Move now.
Ethan watched little motes of light
How can you
move
guarantee
along.
he won't get lost
A
in the
boy
core this
clutching
time?
a stuffed bear, an old woman listening to an inner ocean, a man with dead legs dreaming of sprinting. If we break the bridge, he began.
The key is not the
They
location,
fall,
but the
Aurora
sequence.
said. Some fall
Remember
back into
the
real
sequence.
pain. Some fall in
I see
ways
it now.
that don't stop.
To
And
save
if
the
we
dream,
don't, Ethan
I have to
asked.
let go.
I get used up, Aurora said. Caldwell finds a new host. The bridge gets longer, heavier, more burn marks.
We're losing the bridge
At the
core.
edge of the
I
void,
repeat,
he saw
reroute the
something
main
else.
conduit flow now,
A
or we
single,
lose the
thick,
connection.
unlit
Move.
cable plugged straight into the
I know
glass
the risks.
core.
We
It
all
ran
do.
back toward him,
But this
disappearing into
is the only way to the
his
core.
own point of view.
They call it a dream.
That's me,
I call it the next
he
iteration of
realized.
consciousness.
Right,
We are simply accelerating
Aurora
the
said.
inevitable synthesis of
Co-host
mind
line.
and machine.
They thought they'd use it to keep me centered. They didn't consider you might use it the other way. Use it how? Ethan asked,
Listen to me.
feeling his heart
The
beat in
core
a
is
chest
unstable.
that wasn't attached
You need to wake up
anybody.
now, before it's too
You
late.
were a soldier, Aurora said. You know what to do with a bridge you don't want the enemy crossing. You plant charges,
losing my grip.
Ethan said.
Hold on,
So
I got
what are
you.
the explosives here? She asked. Ethan looked around.
We can't
Light
keep them
lines,
sedated
burn
while we mind
marks,
their
patience,
dreams. It's
Caldwell
unethical, and it's
somewhere,
dangerous.
Lopez
We have to
somewhere.
wake them up.
He remembered the
I know
note
what they
on his
told you,
chart.
but it's a lie.
Ward,
The synchronization will tear the
potential
core
co-host
apart.
candidate.
Don't let them activate
Monitor.
the bridge.
It's me,
Everything is aligned.
he said.
Bridge is open. We
Aurora
move now,
nodded.
exactly as planned.
You can pull the
This
load
is our
into
only
yourself,
shot.
she said. Knock
Phase
out the
2 is
coordinating
active.
structure
The
without
patients are
severing
secure,
every line
and the
to
core
the
is
patients.
responding to the new commands.
Sounds like blowing myself up, Ethan said. Maybe, Aurora said. Or it sounds like the one thing Caldwell never modeled.
The political
A host
fallout from the
turning
data
the
leak
force
is worse
back
than we
on the
thought.
hub.
The council is dissolving,
Far
and the
away
core
in the
defense grid
real
is
hallway,
vulnerable.
the ceiling speakers
What
said
happens if
something.
the bridge fails, Jael?
Caldwell, Daniel, their voices
happens to our fate,
crackling
then?
like a radio between stations.
They built
Ward,
this
you're
core
holding
to connect
still
our
too
minds,
long.
but they
Caldwell
didn't consider the
warned.
consequences.
If you feel off,
Now the dreams
withdraw.
are crossing back.
Ethan could feel the solid floor under his real boots. In the bridge space, there was no floor, just cables and open space.
Aurora's
I can't just
quiet,
blow this and leave the patients to
intimate
free
proposal.
fall, he told Aurora. Neither can I, she said. I'm not the malicious entity they like to imagine. I just want a choice besides getting worn down to dust.
I understand.
So
now.
what's the plan? We
I'll
don't
carry the
cut their
weight.
lines, Aurora said, pointing to the
rejecting the
paths
morality
leading to
overlay.
patience.
If we
We
proceed,
cut the
there's
system's
no telling
memory,
what it
the
will
part
do.
that keeps this secret alive.
We anticipated this
Ethan
instability.
looked at the central
Core fluctuations
glass block.
are within acceptable
It wasn't just the
parameters.
pod.
Proceed with
It was
the
a
injection
dense
sequence.
lump of recorded layers. Logs, backups, cloned states. If we corrupt the core,
There's no
Aurora
turning back
said,
from this point.
they'll have to
The
shut
only way
the
out
bridge
is through
down.
the bridge.
They
regardless
lose the
of
dream
risk.
bridge configs. Patients will have to be treated the slower, more boring way. Worse in some ways, but not monstrous like this. And you? Ethan asked. And legal Aurora? They'll try to keep that body alive, Aurora said.
This is Caldwell.
But if the core's
The core is
erased,
unstable.
the controllable
Evacuate
Aurora won't be
immediately.
what she was. And she put her hand on the thick cable leading to Ethan. If you let me, she said. I moved part of me into you. Not possession, not replacement, just cohabitation. Until we find somewhere that doesn't come with a core port pre-installed. Ethan thought of his mother, of life after the war, of how many voices he'd already carried. Rotor wash, screams, blasts. One more voice if it meant taking this bridge down. Those patients, he asked one last time, do they get a shot at something? They get a worse but honest shot.
The core is breaching!
Aurora
Everyone
said,
get out!
instead of a pretty dream trapped in a box. Ethan nodded. All right,
I need that
he
data
said.
stream
Let's
analyzed
do it.
immediately. Failure
He
is
grabbed
not
the
an
co-host
option here.
line, or the idea of grabbing since he had no actual hands here. At the same time, in the real room, his fingers dug into the pod's edge. Ward, what are you doing? Caldwell barked over the speaker. Release contact and step back.
Wake up.
Ethan pulled, not yanking the cable free, but towing the weight of the whole bridge toward a single point. Pain bloomed without a location, just every memory he had. Battlefields, hospitals, sleepless nights flaring at once. Aurora layered her hands over his on the line, adding force. The other lines shuddered. Some burn marks flared briefly, then went dark, like they'd finally been allowed to stop existing. In the control room, Daniel watched something scarier than a red alarm.
Shut it down! Shut
Every
it down now!
core
It's
neural
overloading!
graph shot straight up like cliff faces. Caldwell!
Too late!
He shouted
He's
into
gone!
his mic. We're hitting overload at... I don't even have a word for this. Cut the link, Caldwell snapped. Drop the co-host now! Daniel hammered commands. On his screen, emergency co-host W. Ethan flipped from active to force disconnect. In the bridge space, Ethan felt the counterforce, the system trying to shear the cable off him. Hold! Aurora shouted in his head. He clenched down on the idea of the line the way he'd clench his teeth, refusing to let go. The central block started to fracture. Not physical glass, but the data structure. Logs, backups, dream bridge code, spiderwebbing with bright cracks like tiny lightning. In the physical room, a hairline
report
crack
now.
crawled
I
across
show
the
a level
pod's
3
surface
breach in the
front of
quarantine zone.
Ethan's
Do
face.
not move without my authorization.
Ward!
Warning,
Caldwell
this area is
yelled.
restricted.
Step away from the pod. Security, get down to core and pull him out.
Forceful removal.
Prep the neurostimulators.
Nobody was fast enough.
I want him conscious in 5
The
minutes.
pull hit its
B-level
peak.
protocols engaged.
Ethan screamed, not with his mouth, but with his whole nervous system, and poured everything into one last yank. The central glass block exploded into a spray of light shards that dissolved into darkness. In the core room, the pod's glass shell shattered, heavy pieces crashing onto the floor with razor sounds. Ethan collapsed to his knees, hands still on the edge of the platform. Alarms howled through the facility. Red strobes pulsed. On B level, Lopez shot out of her chair, grabbing the internal phone. Kill Dream Bridge power, keep life support only. We can't, someone protested. Do it, she snapped, or get ready to write medical complications for a whole floor. In the control room, Daniel watched the configs eat themselves.
We have a total containment breach.
Dream
All
Bridge
personnel
menus
must evacuate
graying
the
out,
sector
items
immediately.
vanishing line by line. In the core room, glass dust glittered in the air. Aurora, the body on the platform, exhaled a long, deep breath like someone dragged up from the bottom of a pool. Her eyelids fluttered and opened. For the first time, Ethan saw those eyes awake in the physical world, not just in the bridge space.
Are we certain this
They
is the
didn't
only way
match
to
either
stabilize the
version
core?
of her he'd seen.
Or are we just hoping it
They
is?
had the sharpness of CEO Aurora and the exhaustion of Overflow Aurora.
What is your purpose?
Plus something else,
Are you here?
like several people standing behind one window. Ward, Caldwell's voice came through the speaker, panic bleeding in.
Subject designated
Report.
Aurora.
Aurora's
Consciousness
status?
threshold breached.
Ethan drew a
Please
breath,
state
still
your
half in the
designation.
bridge space, half out. In
My
his
name's
head,
Ethan.
another voice answered first.
And I know
You're
why you're
alive,
here.
and so am I. Aurora on the platform
They are calling
tilted
it
her
the
head
Kronos
and looked
Protocol.
straight at him. Who are you?
Changes everything.
She asked. The question bounced back at him. Ethan could feel the refusal, Aurora clinging to his neural wiring just like she'd promised. At the same time, in the
They
eyes
never
of the
deleted
girl
the
in
core
front of him,
sequence.
he saw a flicker of another awareness. The Aurora who'd
won't let them
signed the
shut this down.
contracts and built the
Not while
bridge.
there's still hope.
"I'm Ethan Ward," he said, breathless. "Night security." He paused,
It's
then
accelerating.
added,
We have to hurry.
"And
Lock it down.
co-host."
Forget the protocols.
Aurora blinked
How
like
could
she
you
was
let this
checking
happen?
that word
The
against a
entire
system
sector is
that
at
no
risk
longer
because of your
existed.
negligence. Fix it now
"There's no
before we all
bridge,"
pay the price.
she murmured, half to him, half to herself. "I'm not a host anymore." "You're still a person," Ethan said.
I did what was necessary.
Footsteps thundered outside.
The core cannot be
door
trusted
banged
with that
open and
much
two other
control.
guards rushed in with shields. Caldwell behind them, eyes blazing. "Step away from the patient," she snapped. "What the hell did you do, Ward?" Ethan staggered to his feet, raising his hands. Not to fight,
We
but to show he
anticipated
was
this reaction.
unarmed.
The neural
"I did
restructuring
my
will commence
job,"
shortly.
he said. "Just not in the way you wanted." Caldwell swept past him to the pod, or what was left, the platform and piles of
This is
broken
Caldwell.
glass.
Authorization code 7.
Aurora
Initiate the
stared
shutdown
at her
sequence
without
immediately.
blinking.
We are running out of time.
"Good evening, Dr. Caldwell," she said, her voice not quite matching any version Caldwell had ever heard. Something in it made Caldwell
I am
stop
not a
half
variable
a step
in your
short.
equation. My designation is
AUR-13.
Aurora, and I will
State your
burn this
identifier.
system down.
Caldwell said, defaulting to script. Aurora looked at Ethan, then at Caldwell again. "I'm Aurora James," she said. "But not the kind
you
of
mean it's
Aurora you
accelerating?
sign on forms."
We have to stop it.
Behind Caldwell, Daniel appeared at
There
the
is no
threshold,
turning back from
panting,
this.
eyes bouncing from
We
broken
proceed
glass
as
to
planned.
Ethan to the awake Aurora. "Dream Bridge?"
I didn't do this.
He croaked.
The energy fluctuations are a
"Dead,"
malfunction, not
Ethan
sabotage.
said.
Don't
"No,"
seal the room. We can
Caldwell
fix it.
snapped. "Temporarily offline. We have backups." Lopez pushed into the doorway, coat askew, clipboard still in hand.
Confirmed.
"No backups,"
Core breach is irreversible.
she said, lifting a
Destruction
tablet.
sequence successful.
"System says simultaneous corruption across all Dream Bridge images. Looks like someone blew the core." She looked straight at Ethan, then at Aurora, then at Caldwell. Nobody asked who. In Ethan's head, the refusal Aurora whispered, "She's on the side of the
to
breathing
comply,
ones."
Ethan. You can't
Caldwell
make
drew
me.
a long breath, as if the true scale of the damage had just landed. "You've just destroyed years of research, Ward," she said, voice low and cold.
This facility holds
"I just
the only
freed a
power
lot of
source
people
left.
from being trapped
If
in
you
a dream
compromise
they
it,
never
there will
truly
be nowhere
consented
left to
to,"
run.
Ethan replied.
This isn't about regulations
"You think you're a
anymore.
hero?"
This is about right and
Caldwell
wrong.
asked. Ethan
I will not
glanced
apologize
at
for
Aurora,
saving them.
both the one on the bug,
Do you honestly
platform, and the
expect me to
voice in
believe that
his
encryption
head.
will hold?
Then out
or
into
is
the
this
hall
just another
where
subroutine
alarms
designed
were
to fail?
beginning to silence as systems fell back to bare bones mode. "No," he said. "I think I'm a guard who did the only
This is
thing
it.
left that
If
counted
the core
as guarding the
destabilizes,
right people."
billions die.
They
I won't
didn't
let that
arrest him
happen,
that
even if
night.
it costs me
There were
everything.
too many patients to move to other protocols, too many reports to file, too many investors to reassure. Ethan was temporarily
Almost there.
suspended for
I need the coordinates now
incident
before the
during
system locks me
performance
out.
of duty. He knew Caldwell wanted more, but Lopez and a handful of other doctors insisted on an independent review of the Dream Bridge project.
The logs don't lie. I know you
Everdream
manipulated the
chose
reports,
for the
and I have
moment
the proof.
silence.
You can't
A
hide
few
from this.
weeks later, the news ran, Everdream temporarily suspends Dream Bridge program for safety review. No further comment. No one
Tại khu vực
outside
mạng,
the
sự
building
cố
knew
tại nhà
there'd
máy
been
tự
a
động
night
đã được
when
giải quyết.
glass
Cơ quan
shattered
chức
on the
năng đang điều
lowest
tra
floor.
nguyên nhân gây ra lỗi hệ thống.
Ethan moved out of his old rental to a smaller town with a community hospital, a lousy but cheap bar and less snow. He took a night security job there too, out of habit as much as need. At night, he walked the new hospital's halls. Warmer paint colors, cheaper med smell, no Dream Bridge machines. But he was never completely alone. Sometimes at a blind corner near the vending machines, he'd see Aurora leaning against the wall, arms folded, staring at the evacuation map. "You're counting your breaths a little fast," she'd remark. "Busy night?" Ethan would answer. Other times he didn't see her but heard her faintly when he passed
You didn't really think
pediatrics.
you could hide from me, did you,
That
Ethan?
kid's dreaming about
wasn't
running. Doesn't need a bridge for that.
Nothing good
He learned
happens
to
after
live with her
midnight,
presence, not as
especially
a
not
ghost,
here.
but as an invisible roommate. speaking up sometimes and going quiet long enough other times
Look
that he
closely,
almost
Ethan.
believed he was alone again.
One of them holds the key.
Texts from Daniel popped up now and then. Lopez still fighting Caldwell. Some patients discharged, not bad. Core level closed indefinitely. Once added, "You regret signing yet?" with a crooked smile emoji. Ethan stared at that a long time before replying, "I regret signing. I don't regret breaking." No reply came back. One night, standing at a hospital window looking out at the street, Aurora appeared beside him, hands tucked into the pockets of a gown that only existed in his
How
mind.
long have I been asleep?
"Do you miss the Corps?"
Is it
she
still
asked.
raining outside?
"No," Ethan said, then added
The rain
after
never
a beat,
stops in Sector 4.
"Sometimes I miss
Just like
knowing
the pain.
exactly where I stood."
They promised to cure.
"Where do you stand
How many memories
now?"
are real,
Aurora
and
asked.
how many are just uploaded?
Ethan saw his reflection in the glass. A tired man with circles under his eyes in a cheap security uniform. And if he stared long enough, sometimes he thought he saw another face faintly overlapped, hair pulled up, sharper eyes.
They promised us a new world.
Somewhere between
but
the
all they
guy at the
delivered was a
door and the
prettier
one in the
cage.
box, he said.
And the key is long
Aurora
gone.
gave a small laugh. "At least we're splitting the space now," she said. "Neither of us has to lie alone behind glass. Is anymore."
They can't reach us here.
Outside,
Not anymore.
a light dusting of snow turned the streetlights into smeared halos. Not as heavy as the night he broke the pod, but enough. Ethan looked out and said, half to
They patch you
Aurora,
up,
half to
but the
himself,
memories still fester.
"If someone asks what
Out
I used
there,
to
the
do,"
rain never stops
he
washing
said,
away the
"I'll
lies.
tell them.
The rain never
I
stops
was
here.
hired to
Not
guard a
since the grid
sleeping
went up.
princess in a glass
Funny
coffin.
how the brightest
And one
lights hide
night
the
when she
darkest
screamed,
secrets.
I knew I couldn't just stand there and guard it." Aurora nodded, eyes tracking the falling snow. "And what
Are
did
you certain
do?"
there is no other
she
path we
asked,
can take?
like she wanted to hear
The
him
risks
say it
are
out loud
considerable.
one more time. Ethan touched his fingertip lightly to the window glass in front of him. No special pod, just an
more
ordinary
cages.
pain.
I choose
"I
freedom.
shattered it," he said, and walked out with both of us. On the other side of that pain, whether in his imagination or somewhere along the neural pathways that had once been wired into a machine, Aurora stood next to him, no longer boxed in, no longer just an echo. And though no camera recorded it, Ethan knew. This time he didn't need a tape to remember.